Yes, yeah.
Episode 14. Are we on?
Yeah, we're on.
We're here.
Oh my.
We're here. We're loud and clear.
We're with the sauce boss.
We're with the man that's dripping in sauce right now.
Sauce Father.
Yeah,
Sauce
man. How
Father.
you doing?
Sorry, is that what
Great,
it is?
gentlemen. Doing great. How you guys doing? I'm happy to be here. Mitchell Squared.
Mitchell Squared, man. Mitchell Squared plus Kevin. Man.
Yeah,
What do
the
you say?
Sauce Father and the Mitches.
I think it's a good combination.
That's a good
man.
recipe, if you know what
I
I'm
was
saying.
excited
No pun
for this.
intended.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. Yeah, we appreciate you being on here, man. It's
Yeah.
I think this is pretty good. I'm happy with this. This is our official second guest in our short-lived history. And you reached out to me, and yeah, we made it happen, man. Yeah, we appreciate you coming out, man. You pulled up in the
Sauce wagon.
sauce wagon.
Yeah, that thing's legit, eh?
It is legit. It reminds me of a shuttle
Yeah.
bus.
You know, you're in the game when you got a sauce wagon like that. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
no
saying?
doubt.
So
Sounds
now I can
different in
officially
those
feel like I'm
things, eh?
legitimate now that I have a van like
Is
that.
that what it need? That's like the first moment where you're like, I made it.
I
in the
think
sauce
so.
game?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I knew it was real, then right? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So do you take that, like, do you deliver the sauce? Do you go on these, like, big adventures to just, like, rip up with the box of sauce for
Yeah.
people?
So I guess
That's
for
pretty
the viewers,
Yeah.
I'm the co-owner of Island Sauce Company. So and yes, to answer your question, that thing is that does
It's like your second home.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So like we do deliveries all throughout the province of Nova Scotia, and that thing does it all.
That's
So you're the
great.
guy on the road.
Most of the time, yeah. Like I'm the jack of all trades right now.
Well,
I wear every hat. When you start a company,
Right.
like at the start, you wear every hat.
Yeah.
And as you build and grow the company, like you start taking off hats and delegating them. I already mentioned to you off air that like I already delegated one hat to
Right.
a full time employee now. So, but I'm still like, it's funny because sometimes like people have seen me from the videos or whatever. Like they're like, oh, you're the Island Sauce guy, and then like they see me being the guy that shows up doing
Right.
like some of the grunt work. You know what I mean?
Very
So-
humbling.
Yeah. They're
We
like, oh, you're the guy from the. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
We just talked about that, like, a couple episodes ago, though, how kind of fulfilling that is, because there's going to be a point when this company grows and you're just sitting at the top watching, watching all your workers do what
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
And you're going to look back and be like, those were the fun days when I was like, bombing halfway across the island to deliver, you know what I mean?
Oh, you nailed it. Like the journeys, like that's
The
half
reward.
that's,
Yeah.
like I like every minute of every day, like that. I enjoy the journey. That's your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Totally
Yeah, it
different
is,
than just
yeah.
like say you acquired a sauce
Yeah,
company, you know
that's
what I mean?
right. No, for
It's like
sure.
you're coming up out of the dirt with it. It's
Yeah. No,
awesome,
it's-
and you're doing very well too.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Boy.
Yeah. So when did you acquire the sauce wagon that you currently roll around in?
Oh, yeah, I got that last summer. So like I realized I had a like a little hatchback Mazda, and I was like pulling up to like Sobeys with like my hatchback Mazda. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
and we
you're in Sobeys now.
started to be doing okay, and I realized like to make the next step we gotta.
You
Like,
need to look like the image
Yeah.
matters when you're pulling up.
Yeah.
It's like this
So
is
we-
the official brand. We got to keep getting.
Yeah,
It's
so we had to
awesome.
get a company vehicle at that
Yeah.
point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, it's worth it, man.
And it's cool because like when you do something like that, like we got the decals on it, right? Like someone locally does that, like you get your buddy to help you do the decals. So it's like
I actually designed what's on the side of the truck.
yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about coming on. So like Mitch, you were around like for a long time when I was really like starting this and saw how hard it was and how much.
Yeah,
like,
well,
how, when I was
you
getting it
had
going.
some
Yeah.
difficulties with suppliers and you're just
money,
figuring it
everything.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
difficulties for everything. Like it took me. Like I think like this would be our first year fully in business. Like
wow.
since we like launched our sauces into stores, had the Snack Shack open, the restaurant, the takeout food place. Like it's really been a little over a year since we've been like fully in business. But it was like 3 or 4 years of just struggle before then, like with suppliers, finding money. Like it was like it's you have to be like a really.
You were dedicated, man.
Oh,
you
yeah,
were,
you gotta be
were
a sick,
always
sick,
in
'cause
the
you-
office like I'm trying to move. I'm trying to move.
Man.
Like it was
Because your family suffers, you suffer, like sleeping in like just like sacrifice, and it took so long for me to really kind of fully establish it. And but like that's like, but you enjoy it so much.
It's sweet when it pays
Yeah.
off.
And you were around for like I could say this, but it's nice having you around because you were actually a part of it. You designed our sauce racks that are in stores.
There's one in Pharmacy. My father's a pharmacist at Pharmacy in Glace Bay, and
Right. You
and I
designed-
just
you
I was like
designed it.
walking out, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh damn,
There
there
it
it
is,
is.
yeah.
Well, it's great advertising too because you're in the midst of delivering sauce, but anyone that drives past your vehicle,
they're gonna
they're gonna see your logo,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
they might be familiar with seeing that maybe at Sobeys before. Like, oh my God, they might not even know that you guys are based here and put two together in the first place, right? So,
Yeah, and that you nailed it because like one thing that we kind of done like build with the racks. So our sauce racks, you've seen them in stores. We like if you notice, like in most stores that we're in, we're not just on a shelf. We have these like kind
Your
of like,
individual racks.
Yeah, these like, and that was a big investment, and they cost a lot of money,
Right.
for design and getting them built. Like I think we just placed an order in Ontario for 24 of those racks. They get them custom made. It was like 10 grand.
So that's what I was gonna ask you too,
Yeah.
because I wasn't sure. Like I saw like you guys were in Sobeys, and I imagine that you're in a lot of other like locally owned, just not
Right.
convenience stores, like small grocery stores and
small
stuff like
groceries.
throughout the island. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you guys are actually in different provinces and stuff like throughout the country.
Yeah, well, we're only sold wholesale in Nova Scotia, but we do business in other provinces as well.
Gotcha.
But with the racks, like you said about the van, that is like traveling advertisement. We like made these investments in these racks because you move more product on the racks. You're supplying the store, like, so they're more comfortable taking you on because you're supplying the shelf space. You're not taking up their shelf space.
Yeah.
And then you have the design work, so like you have the brand recognition in stores. You have the brand recognition like on your side of your van when you're traveling. Then we have
you
the
connect
snack
those
shack
dots.
down at the Takeout Food and Open Earth Park. That's also branded us.
I think that that was an amazing investment and probably helped a lot with the financial side of
did.
getting because now you have not only a place to show off your product and how good it can be, but you can also funnel that money back into the venture itself because you have a restaurant. It's not something where like you're trying to sell like food doesn't necessarily sell itself, but like someone's gonna get hungry, they're gonna check it out, they're gonna tell their friends, and it's gonna snowball, right? But that also gives you a great money to pump back into the sauce, but like a great way, like I said, to like show what your product is.
Showcase the product. Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, we got that like in the time where I was trying to get the sauce in the stores and figure out the money and the suppliers and stuff. I ended up getting the Takeout Food Shop, and we branded it on Sosco. And then, so we were making our sauce there and just using it on our food before it was sold in stores. And like that was the first step because that helped drive revenue through the company, and then which ended up giving you more eligibility for like different loans and stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah.
So it was one of the first steps in the journey, and it's worked out great too.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably the super important step to like
Big time.
launching the sauce itself.
And you did the
forward.
design on you designed.
So I gotta figure this out here. So did you do the logo?
I think I did do the Snack Shack logo. I did do the Snack
did,
Shack
But the,
logo.
the logo that you're wearing,
And the
on
one
your
that's on his
right
hat,
now.
I did that too.
Yeah.
So you made
Mitch?
the logo for the company.
No, I didn't do the original Sosco logo.
No, so we have
but you actually asked me to redesign it, and I think it's like I would never touch that logo.
this one here.
No,
the
no,
old
the
one?
what your original like that's on the bottle. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would never. You asked. You came in a couple times and were like, "Oh, I'll try to, jazz this up." And I'm like, "It's don't
Sometimes simplicity is the
don't."
best.
It's
Yeah,
like
well, you know what? It's funny because you designed this logo that's on the hat, and then you designed like the racks, and you designed the Snack Shack, which is awesome. That the signage and the logo for the Snack Shack is wicked, as well as his logo. It's like I love it. But see, like the original one that we did, it worked really good. Like on the labels on the bottles,
solid.
It's solid. It's perfect. But
bulk.
what we realized, it's like it didn't parlay into like merchandising into like clothing and stuff. Like you couldn't slap it on a shirt as well as like
well, it wasn't like a badge.
yeah, it wasn't like a badge or whatever. So like we kind of like, and if you see with lots of brands, like they have like kind of like primary and secondary logos. So like we now have like two logos, like the circle one that you see on the hat here. That's kind of more of our like merchandise. Like, we put on like clothing and stuff like that, just because it's a sick logo. It really is. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm really happy with it.
Oh, super dope.
Yeah. So we have the two, and we kind of have we just put whatever like one like fits on whatever. Like,
Yeah, you can fit the situation.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So take me back here because you said that it took about 3 to 4 years before you guys were kind of like a little bit more official. So how old are you right now?
I'm 35.
Because I feel like age is such an interesting concept to me. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of the last episode. Like, we're 23, and I feel like there's been different points in my life where, my interests have changed, and it always fascinated me when I was like 20. I talked to someone that was like, 32, and they were like, "Oh, I started this company when I was 27." I'm like, "You could start new things and
Yeah,
you can
27
switch
seems
it
a
up."
far way.
Yeah,
right?
when you're 19 or
away.
20 and you've been in your adulthood for like 2 years, that could feel like 5 or 10 years because your concept of time is a little bit different. But so you say you're 35?
Yeah.
So you started this when you were 30?
Yeah, basically about 30, 31. Yeah.
So what were you doing prior to
Yeah. Well, I worked in a ton of
Entrepreneurial
jobs. So like I worked as a bartender.
Right.
That was like in working in restaurants and food and beverage predominantly.
I was wondering that. Did you
Yeah.
cook?
I didn't cook. I was a bartender, but I worked in like the industry for like
You were around it.
yeah, and I have a college degree and stuff, not in business or anything like that. Which
What was your degree?
just community studies.
I read that on, and that was kind of segue into something I wanted to ask you moving forward. But yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, so like to like do a little spot on like the college education stuff. Like people always ask me like, do you go to business school or did you get like, a business degree? And I'm always like, no, not that I don't think there's value in business degrees, but I do think that like a lot of times there's more value in like growing in the field and in the industry, learning from business owners, managers, and stuff like that.
What's firsthand experience?
Firsthand experience. It's like
you could sit in a classroom all day,
right?
And people could teach you all these different, you know, by the book methods for 3 years. But you could also spend those 3 years sitting next to someone who owns a business.
Exactly.
Could potentially learn a little bit more.
And you can learn all the ins and outs of business and have no good idea for a business.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
But back to the college education thing. Like I got a community studies degree, but what college education does do is like you learn a lot, like how to like critically think. Yeah, like a lot of like just like
life skills,
right? And like how to develop your mentality, your work ethic, your knowledge based on
disciplining you.
Yeah, no. So like the value of the college education, even though it wasn't in business, but to get back to what we were talking about, so I worked I worked for the Cape Breton Highlanders, the basketball team here.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it was like one
I
of
wish they would bring that back.
That was sick. Yeah,
that was an unfortunate loss.
Yeah, it was. But that was I worked there. Kind of was the main guy under the general manager and president for the 1 year that it was here for I think 2 years, but for the first year, so that was a great experience.
Was it only here for 2 years?
I think.
I feel like there might have been a third season. I feel like I remember the hype.
Right.
I feel like the hype lasted for like 2 years.
Yeah. The first season was so much fun. Like it was like a startup. Like when I remember working with Tyrone. He was the president, and we were like. We were doing stuff like, and they were like, we like didn't have heat in our office, and like we were like stealing the Wi-Fi of people next door.
You gotta like love that part too.
That's,
If you believe in the project, you're like, this is the part we'll look back on in the autobiography.
No,
when
exactly. So, and those are the type of things you like when you like the pieces you learn, like those kind of circumstances. Like I didn't get like I don't want to be like saying anything like crazy, but like I didn't get paid for the first like 2 months I worked there. You know what I mean? And like all this stuff, but that was part of the journey of
you
like
believed in the potential.
Yeah, exactly.
And the experience you learn from that, you can apply to something that will make you a lot of money down the road.
Right.
And,
Yeah. So like I was kind of late, probably. Like I worked in a lot of like play, and then it was after that. Like I had like other jobs as well. But like it was that when that ended, it was that like kind of like turn point moment where I was like right around 30 years old, had to like decide like what I wanted to do, like where they get your typical like 9 to 5 job, like pension benefits, but like that's never what I wanted to do. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and had that kind of like mindset, and it was just like it's now or never, and like just like sit down and buckle down. I was like I'm fucking doing it.
So why sauce?
Yeah, that's a
good question. Cause I was gonna ask that too because it was like community studies. That's what you took in university,
right?
And obviously you had the entrepreneurial drive,
right?
And because I'm sure you had other ideas too prior to starting this. Like, did you throughout your 20s? Did you experiment with trying to start any other businesses in different industries and stuff?
Not really, but kind of. Like I always kicked around. I always wanted to like do stuff like this actually, and do like podcasting and actually talk about.
But now you're the fourth host.
Yeah, well, now you guys are gonna make me a star here, so this is great.
Mitchell Square plus Kevin.
Yeah,
plus K plus J.
Yeah,
plus K plus J.
Yeah,
KJ.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Our man in the background. Yeah.
The wizard.
He's the star of the show.
Oh, he legit.
He runs the show.
The show doesn't exist if he's not here. We're blessed.
Shout
out to Jason.
But yeah, and then how did it turn out? So like this is I'm glad you asked the question, boys. Like, cause
I like making my own sauces myself.
Hey, well,
so I'm just curious. We're just like kicking around at home. You made some fire barbecue sauce, and you're like, let's fucking do this.
For aspiring saucers at home.
No, but this is like not for aspiring saucers. This is for
don't do this.
This is for aspiring
entrepreneurs,
right?
Because like I always wanted to like take the lead and run my own company and like build something from the ground up. And I always believed I could, right? And so like when I looked at it, I looked at like companies like Breton Brewery, for instance, Nova Scotia Spirit Company. Like East Coast Lifestyle.
You're giving me ideas for people to have on as guests in the future.
Yeah, there you go.
I didn't even think of that.
Almost, and they all have great guests. Like, but those were the type of things. So like, I was like, that's the kind of like whatever like parameters or that I want to go in. So like with a clothing company or like
You want to be in some supply and demand type
yeah,
of
like
business.
that type of thing, right? Nova Scotia. So those were the 3 ones I looked at, but I was like, well, I can't make clothes because someone's already kind of like.
And everybody wants it to have a clothing line. And you have your own company. You just make
You
merch.
can just make yeah, exactly.
You get the satisfaction from that.
Yeah, for sure. And then like I looked at like can't make like there's already a lot of breweries like can't do that like. So like what can I like find that, and so like that and I thought, and then that's when like the sauce came in, because I did a lot of market research and I was like, there's an opening here. There's like because you guys see what I'm doing.
So this is like a strategic choice. It wasn't like I love making sauce. I'm gonna do this.
It was, and don't get me wrong. I worked in food and beverage. I was
you
food
appreciate
condiment
good food.
man. For sure. Like so it played into what I already like knew and did and enjoyed. But it was strategic because I looked at like what the market like, because you guys see what I do.
Yeah.
And no one's doing like what we do. Like we filled a gap that had yet to be like taken advantage of. Where if you look at like if we had started a brewery or something, like we were there's already 8 people that like to the party already. You know what I mean? So so that's how the sauce came up. And then when I came up with the idea, because it fit like with what we did, and it's something like I always look myself and I'm sure you guys probably do it to yourselves in a certain like we're marketers, we're salesmen, like we right and it's an easy I said off air I was like I'm not selling vacuum cleaners, like it's a tough sell selling someone a vacuum cleaner, which nothing wrong with that.
Island sauce
but
vacuum
like
cleaner.
selling sauce it's a pretty easy thing to sell and market and have fun with, right?
Is it easy? Like because I know food is probably something that is at least like everybody needs to eat.
Right.
Where the difference is like this is a podcast. Not everybody needs to listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
So like is it easy if you're like how do you market that to make people want to try your sauce? Like what is it that
that's why you and I said this before, like the way that your sauce company is run like is a lot different. Like there's not a lot of sauce companies where there's like a personality. You're constantly like throwing that out there and generating all this content.
Sure.
Like even if you did get into beer, or even if you did get into vacuum cleaners, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be run in such a different way,
right?
Because of the way that you want to like just you really. I mean, obviously you have your partner as well,
Nathan. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So how did you kind of bring that idea to him, or like how did?
So like everything, like when you want to do something like this, like just like you guys are doing this, you want to do everything as best you can, first class, and bring in people like that will do a good job.
Right.
So Nathan is like the best in the business.
And I heard that.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody a couple
geez.
days ago, and they brought him up.
Oh, he's the
And
stud.
when I started looking at the website and stuff, I was like, oh, he's right here.
Right.
I think they actually might have brought it up because I was like, oh, I'm getting Island Sauce Co. on the podcast. And they're like, was Nate?
Check him out.
Yeah, Nate Susan.
Yeah, Nate Susan.
Well,
Yeah.
shout out to him. I actually didn't know if you were gonna pull up with him because I was like, who's
Is he
running
gonna
this
be two
account? I
guys?
was on the
Yeah.
website. I was
Yeah.
like, which one is it gonna be? But
Right.
I see you posting on the
On the
Instagram, so I was like,
yeah.
I'm 99% sure it's
Right.
you. But
Yeah, so we went to Nate, and Nate's like I'm more of like the business guy, sales. Like most of the actual recipes and the food products actually come from Nate.
Right.
I was well, that's why I was wondering if you had some sort of personal, because like I was saying, like last summer I got into making my own barbecue sauce, kind of inspired by you guys because I ran out of barbecue sauce. I was like, well, I'm gonna make my own, and I was
These
like,
guys
these
make
guys
sauce.
can do it. I'm gonna try it at home, and I did that. So I figured that you must have did that. So got into it, but it was him that kind of brought the recipes. And you were like, let's do this business.
Yeah, I pitched it to him. I was like, man, like, and I was like, and then so he got incentivized, like, and plus like he's a great guy, and it was a good opportunity.
Great chef.
We brought in Nate, and he's a stud, man. He's the man. I wish he was here too because he's a great guy.
Well, maybe we could do
a
a
good interview someday.
Yeah.
We'll bring Nate
follow-up
in too.
episode with him.
Yeah.
What I was gonna ask too is like I was watching the video that was on your guys' YouTube channel where it was like the 3-minute clip of like you guys kind of talking about how everything formed at the beginning.
Sauce talk. Yeah.
Yeah, the sauce talk. Yeah, that'd be a great podcast. I mean,
well,
sauce talk.
it's in the like that's something we're planning on doing.
Right.
We're bringing other chefs maybe.
Yeah,
no,
that'd be a
you
cool
can.
platform.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What I was gonna say too is like but you said there was something you said during that little clip where you were like, a lot of people thought that you were crazy for trying to pursue that idea or what has turned to reality right now. So take us back. So what are you 30, 31?
Yeah.
Like you're
Thanks for getting us back on track.
Yeah.
I know.
So you're you working with the Highlanders, doing a couple jobs here and there, and you're trying to like I want to figure out how to grow something that will build over time, that will fulfill my entrepreneurial endeavors, basically.
Right.
Who are the people that you throw this idea at first, and did you have the idea for the the sauce company for a period of time?
Yeah, well, that's
Because you were doing market research, you thought it was like,
Yeah.
It's incredible that you came to it from that angle.
That's the angle, and everyone's
seems
always
almost bizarre to me that like it wasn't like almost like a personal interest. You were like,
Yeah.
this is the market I'm gonna hit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's
It's
funny
a
because
very observant.
it is
decision.
No one ever expects that. No one ever like when they think right. It's not.
That you were passionate about barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
And you probably are.
and I am, right?
Yeah.
And
Well,
I am.
You are
what
now.
you do.
Yeah.
But like if you go back to the market research, like you look at the products that are on the shelves in the markets, like no one was doing what we're doing. So there was your like high end companies like your Bullseye Barbecue and all that kind of stuff. If you like when I went and looked at it, like they were doing nothing on social media. They were doing they were adding what I would say additional value to the customers. They weren't investing in our communities. They were doing literally nothing other than putting the bottle on the shelves.
Probably some billionaire guy.
Yeah,
who's like,
right,
I want
and
to
they-
make money.
Well, they
off
probably
this
don't
market.
even necessarily have to because it's like, I mean, they could, and it would make their brand look nicer, and they would
Right.
probably eventually do better.
But
But
it doesn't even matter to them because they're just there.
Yeah,
It's
and
like, I'll
then
put them here, people buy.
and then there was local there was smaller local companies who had like mom and pops like great recipe or whatever, and they hit your farmers markets and they have great products, but like they weren't like monetized it or branding or building it into something bigger. So like I looked at such an opportunity that was like we could add we could do this, we could take what these people that are in your farmers markets, your small batch sauce companies, and then do it on a larger scale and like really like take a lot of the market from these companies because no one's really loyal to them, and when you really look at it, like what are they doing? They're not investing in their communities. They're not present
like you at all.
They're not doing the how-to barbecue, like they're not doing anything.
they're not jumping on podcasts talking
not
about how
jumping-
they.
no, exactly.
I remember
Sauce
when
beef.
I was working on some of your stuff, I walked down an aisle in Sobeys here in Glace Bay. It's like a health food aisle, but they also have like, basically, I would say like all of the other sauce companies that are like in your market. Like there's some from like New Brunswick, right? And I'm like, their branding is awful. I've never heard of this before, and like I said, they're probably not present like you.
Right.
Like nobody is running a sauce company the way that you guys are running a sauce company.
Yeah.
And then again, you guys are supplying your own shelving space that's like beautifully branded.
Thank you, Mitch.
Pat myself on the back. And,
That's a good promo.
and,
Great ad.
but for real though, like you're putting that shelf space there. You can not necessarily pick where you want to be, but you can be more present in the store than these guys that are tucked at the end of a health food aisle where they don't even really belong because that's the only shelf space available for their sauce company. Like and like I said, like these people are people that are from New Brunswick. Like one company that I specifically remember from New Brunswick that I'm like, okay, they got their sauce over here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's like your competitors are not in your realm at all. I don't
No,
think.
and that's like you said, back to what we were talking about. Like this was all stuff I like did market research. I saw
You saw a
a
big
vision
hole.
and a big hole, like you know what I mean, that I knew me and Nate could fill, right? And I knew that I had the passion and I made the decision to do it. And back to like what you were asking before, it was like we go back. So like I start this, I say, okay, I'm doing this, whatever, right? And like I was like literally, I ended up living like this is the kind of sacrifice you have to make. When you do something like this, like you have to be a lunatic in a little bit of ways.
you have to.
Like I moved into my cottage, so I was like living by myself at my cottage bungalow in Big Pond. I'm out there like cooking barbecue sauce every night by myself. You know what I mean? And like I'd go into my friends' places and be like, I'm starting a sauce company, and like you guys got to try the sauce. And
They have like
"Oh."
3 kids and like they're married and they're like,
or they're, like the boys were just like, oh yeah, we'll try. And like none of my friends like when I
They didn't have the fire behind
when I left
tasting it like
when
you
I
had the
left
fire behind
their
making it.
house after they were like
Yeah.
they're like, is Kev lost his mind? Like we gotta like check call his mom and like
intervention.
yeah, like no one like they all thought I was like out of my goddamn
He's
mind.
obsessed with making sauce
Yeah,
late
like
night.
rolling their eyes, laughing behind my back, like you know what I mean. But like
Shout out to all the haters.
yeah, no, honest to God,
Look at him now, bro.
Yeah,
He's in the garage.
Now
you're at my mom's house.
Yeah, I've made the big time now, right? So
Not even at your own mom's house.
yeah.
Yeah, he's going to my mom's.
So yeah, that was the and then it was a constant grind and battle until like we made it happen. But like,
Well, the thing is, you have in mind where you're going, and you know the potential of what you're trying to do, and it's hard to explain that to people right off the bat when you're starting to realize the potential in something that you're
Right.
going to event you're going to begin pursuing.
Yeah.
So until you kind of provide them with some real results,
Yeah.
that's when you
can't
start to
blame
see a small
yeah.
little bandwagon start to
Right.
form.
That's
so
a huge piece of the struggle is just getting beyond that. Like
For sure.
it's like I'm
Oh,
serious
this
about
is-
You
this.
can't
just
expect
has
it to be
an
like,
idea.
oh yeah, Kev, yeah, you're gonna have a
you're
burger.
gonna have the biggest sauce company in the world,
Like,
buddy.
you're
You
like,
know what I mean? Like,
Kev's out in Big Pond by himself cooking barbecue
Yeah.
sauce. Like,
Yeah.
like,
It's not. You got to prove to people it's not a phase.
You have to, you have
yeah,
to,
it's not. You have to prove to people it's not a phase.
you have to
Yeah.
block
exactly.
out the doubt.
Yeah,
until,
that's right.
Until you prove
But like
something.
you probably know with like what your journey, like you have a vision, you believe in
Yeah.
yourself, you see what like what it could be 3-5 years from now, like, and like that's like what carries you is not everyone else is gonna see it.
100%.
Right?
Like I was in high school and I was like, I'm gonna start rapping, and I was like, but you know what's crazy to me is like I knew that there was like certain people like that I wasn't necessarily close friends with. Like I would go to parties and stuff, and people would be like, "Oh, freestyle!" Like I was like, "Fuck, this is kind of like not the environment that I wanted to like prove myself in,
Right.
because you got to go to school on Monday and be around these people, and I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, I want to go record, not have to. I want to be like two different people almost, but you
Right.
got to kind of be like, I got to be like this all the time. And then after they see that you're serious, like in my experience, it was I did a couple shows and I went to Halifax. I come back and like, oh, like we're not gonna bother him about wanting to do something that's kind of different for the average person that's our age right now. So like,
But I remember the anxiety too that came along with you dropping, like, and I mean, you fucking blew.
but
through
you
that,
know what?
Just like you blew through.
The
it.
thing
Yeah.
was though, at the beginning, I was like, it got to a point because I waited for like a year, and I was like, I need to see if I actually like want to do this. I'm writing songs and all this stuff, and then I'm like, okay, you know what? I don't even care about what the initial reaction is from like the judgmental small community mindset, because I'm like, I believe that this is just what I want to do. Like I just want to continue doing this.
Yeah.
So that just outweighs any kind of doubt. So I would imagine at the beginning when you were probably feeling very strongly about the potential of what
Sure.
your idea
Oh,
was.
100%.
So it didn't really
Yeah.
even matter.
No, but yeah, no, I had the conviction, obviously, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like,
you seem like you.
I mean, I'm sure
yeah.
you do too, right?
Yeah.
Like, cause you like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like you said, I never thought of it that way, but like, kind of like get the doubt out of people's mind. Like, show that it's
Well,
not a
you gotta
phase.
keep
Show that it's
other
not a
people's
phase.
doubt out of
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Put the blinders on and just go.
Because like you could do something, and be like, and like if it, no one's gonna take you seriously if it's like, you know what I mean, the first time you say or do something, right?
until you prove yourself.
Yeah, because
like you said, like, you get a couple shows under your belt, and then people are like, okay, he's performing. You know what I mean? You get your sauce in a store, or you get some sort of milestone,
right?
and then people are like, oh, this is real.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then like you'll turn. I remember, not to get too off topic, but just like people who maybe didn't have a positive response to you doing this in high school, and then like months later, it was like you bring it up and it's a complete 180.
Yeah, probably
You know
the
what I
biggest-
mean?
the
Or even
biggest
all the
fans
people
are-
that
Or
are
like even a
"Oh,
couple
fuck
years or
you."
something
Yeah,
like that.
whatever.
Like
You know what I mean? Like
for certain people, it takes different milestones
That's
for
right.
them to be
Yeah.
but,
for you to justify your idea to them.
Yeah.
Kind
yeah,
of.
but you put the blinders on.
And
you
like
make
what
that
you said too, and
milestone.
that's one
Boom.
thing. Like I'm hoping to part of my like goal and vision and journey is like, excuse me, like there's not like a great like maybe where we grew up necessarily like a great atmosphere where you have a lot of like-minded people. Like there was more. There, if you start a tech company in Silicon Valley, you're gonna have lots of support, lots of like-minded people, but
because that's where they all go.
that's where, but like when you start like a sauce company in Cape Breton, you know what I mean, where people are more used to like,
Are there even any others here?
or just being an entrepreneur, self-made entrepreneur, even in general. It's not like we're this Cape Breton or Sydney or whatever is like the hub of
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, self-made
you're
entrepreneurs
like
or
the social
whatever, right?
atmosphere real
Yeah,
quick.
so like like that's just. It makes it hard, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things you have to have thicker skin, and
Right.
But and much like yourself, probably. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like I said, I did a lot of market research on this. I was a smart guy. I was old enough to be like mature enough. I knew what I was doing. Like I saw, I'm like, this is fucking here. Like I can do this. Like you know what I mean? It's I just gotta like. So it wasn't like when I right from the start. So like everything like I've been through in like 4 years. Like when you see it, like I said this was gonna to almost to the T. And like I was like every like when we're here with like hats, sauce on, like I saw it right from day one. I knew it was gonna happen. I just knew so I wasn't wrong. I knew it. Like it wasn't like I was just like, oh shit, I hope this is like I put in enough work, saw what was needed to be there, was old enough and mature enough to and had enough experience.
Right.
And so I knew that opportunity was there. I just knew that I had to do it. It wasn't it wasn't a risk. Like to me, it wasn't a risk. You know what I mean? It was I
like,
knew.
this is
I
inevitable.
knew it. Yeah, it
If
was.
you do it
If I
right,
do- yeah,
because look at the people that I'd be competing against, and they're not even considering doing the things that I'm going to
Exactly.
do.
No.
So do you think that is what you kind of mentioned this before, like the branding and like the kind of lifestyle that is associated with what the product that you're actually selling is what makes you stand out. Now, so when you first kind of had some people test out what you were about to sell or anything, like what is the first moment that it became a little bit more legit? Like you had a product, you were, I saw a photo. I was just creeping through the Instagram from like 3 years ago. You were at something, you were standing with somebody, and it was like throwback to 3 years ago. This was just an idea. You look like way younger too. Like I mean, you're not
well, building business is stress you out.
Yeah, honest to God.
Like,
It's like,
I got my third kid on the way.
Yeah.
I just saw a picture of myself with holding my first son within the first couple of weeks. I was like, shit, I look like a baby.
A family's a business, bro.
Those fucking lines in my
Family's a
forehead.
business, yeah.
You invest your time into something. It's gonna take a toll.
Yeah, no, I definitely aged a lot over the. But I mean, it's like,
I didn't even mean to like fucking aging. But I looked at the picture. I was like, man, it looks like, is that me? Like from fucking
well, like when
4
I
years
shaved
ago?
too, I got like baby face. So like when I. But like, if you ever look at like the picture of Obama when he started, like, when he ended, it was
Dude,
like,
age like
invest your time into something.
yeah, I was like 8
seriously.
years president, aged that guy like 25 years. You know what I mean? So
that shows how little Donald Trump aged too, because he probably didn't fucking do anything.
He's already a million. He's golfed.
But yeah, no. So what was like the first moment where like, did you have to go to like local markets and kind of just set up a table and start selling the sauce? Like
yeah, like all that stuff. Like I'm telling you, man. Like like you just gotta be like ready to just get disappointed, like ass
100%.
like pounded.
But like not even for any business.
Yeah,
just like
it's just like it's
a lot of rejection.
Oh, yeah.
You can't get discouraged right off the bat.
No,
you got to be able to deal with rejection because
yeah, and then just like the smaller places take you, and you just kind of build from that and stuff like that. But like I said, like the foundation from a quality standard product and business was always there. So like. And in reality, like
your sauces have been amazing.
Yeah, and the market was starving for it. Like it was, and I saw it, so it wasn't like I had to like break it and like twist anyone's arm. Like people were receptive, right? And for the most part, like there was a lot of like hurdles obviously and stuff. And part of it because like I'm learning, I don't know. Like how do I approach Sobeys or like you don't know those things.
How do you approach Sobeys?
Like it's a weird thing. Like it's easier for some like we went direct to some stores and Sobeys and
Sobeys is based out of Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that does help a lot.
I read Sobeys' whole Wikipedia page 2 months ago. I don't know why.
They're in Stellarton, Nova Scotia, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they must have a little bit of a soft side for
sure.
Local
yeah,
businesses.
for sure. They support local and big time. That's part of their brand too. Like if you're like someone why would you go shop at Sobeys over a Superstore or whatever? It's like when you go to Sobeys, you can get like Island sauce. You know what I mean? You get Marguerite Valley Hunt. Like that's part of like their brand is like you can go there and you're gonna
you can get the bigger companies.
Yeah, you're still in a you're still in a grocery store like Super Value or Walmart, but you can also get Island Sauce Company. You can also get like Marguerite Valley Honey. You can get like
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so that's why those. Well,
that's what Sobeys.
Your competitors would be
if you go to the sauce section in Sobeys, there's like hot sauces and stuff that are like I think it was like Maritime.
There's Maritime Madness, that's in PEI, and then there's like two guys that like we all work out of the same facility, two other companies, Mad Gringo Hot Sauce and Hill's Jamaican Jerk. Yeah. So they're both from Nova Scotia. They're featured at Sobeys.
So when you say work at the same facility, do you mean like these are the places that like manufacture?
Yeah. So Hill's Jamaican Jerk, Paul Hill, he's the guy that owns and runs the facility. He's like my co-packer. So he makes his own products there, and then he also makes my products, and he makes Jordan.
This is your sauce supplier now.
Yeah, it's like a co-packer. It's like he's the one that like cooks it and bottles it. And
okay, so you must have switched since the last time I was speaking to you because I know you were like.
Well, so like when I first started like years ago, I actually sold bottles of sauce for like 3 or 4 months. We were using a company called Acadian Maple. And they actually got out of the business of co-packing and manufacturing. And that was one of the hurdles that took me so long to get back in the business to where we were last year was there was no place in the Maritimes.
No, you were working with somebody in Ontario.
So I was looking to get it made in Ontario. I was looking
to
order
like 10,000 bottles.
Oh, I was like, it was like 100.
And you were in the plastic bottles, right?
Yeah.
I was disappointed that you moved out of the glass. I'm glad that you're back in the glass.
Yeah. So like, we had to like, that was part of the reason why I was so troubled was there was no manufacturers in the Maritimes. But I didn't let it go. I didn't let it go. I was like looking to go get it in Ontario. We had to get like $150,000 of the sauce, and like it was just a shit show. And then as
$150,000 worth of sauce.
Like for some of these to get it like to make it like cost efficient.
That was that was like
to make it so like it was all these hurdles. That, like I said, any sane person would have been like,
pack the
just would have, went and got a job. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But It took time, but then like we found Paul. Paul was actually getting his sauce made at the same place that I was originally like years ago, and when that happened, he spent his own money building his own little facility, and then it
collab.
and then we finally
this is like a growing
yeah
thing here.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, and Paul, like, he's like the best guy in the world.
So
Like,
just for the context of the people, like Paul
Hill owns Hill's Jamaican Jerk sauce company.
Okay.
Their products are in Sobeys, and he also like seconds as a co-packer. So he makes products for myself, Mad Gringo hot sauce, and there's plenty other smaller operations that you like. So like there's like a pizza place in Halifax that sells their sauce, their pizza sauce out of their shop.
Yeah.
They'll get it packaged at Paul's place.
Oh, okay.
So Paul, and now like this is part of the journey. What's great for us because like Paul's a great guy. He has his vision, his journey. He put his own stake in the game, his own money, built this facility so companies like us could grow and become established. And I also did like kind of the same thing for Paul in a lot of ways because he has bigger plans. He wants to grow his business, so he wants to put like food manufacturing on the map here in Nova Scotia. So we we can do a lot more from a food manufacturing side.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. This is a new.
Yeah, it is. It is a new. It's a very
like thousands of jobs.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Paul's kind of like the godfather of like the food manufacturing side of it, and like with me, like him finding me, like as I was serious, I was moving boss. So like it gave him a staple, consistent customer, right? That allowed him to establish himself,
So you guys kind of benefited from working with each other.
Exactly, yeah. So like that was a key factor, and now we're kind of off and rolling here. So like you'll see 5-10 years from now, like Paul and his business and obviously ours, but like food manufacturing here in Nova Scotia is going to become a lot more because there's now an industry for it, and there's now like a leader in the industry with there's facilities to do it. So
that's
pretty cool. Yeah, it is. It actually is.
So you guys have the location at Open Hearth Park, right?
Right.
And so when did you guys get that set up, and like what did you think was that always a goal for you off the bat to like kind of have like a restaurant location?
It had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Like because in the meantime, when I was trying to find out, like I was going to Ontario, I was like how do I keep this thing alive? So I got the opportunity for that place at Open Hearth Park to get the lease for or whatever. I was like, okay, so.
Were you actively looking for?
Not really. It was kind of like I heard it through the grapevine that
you're like that could be a good idea.
And then I was like, yeah, like yeah, exactly. And then
you needed a place to showcase your product.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when that happened, and I was like, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that's like the best thing that could happen because now you have your sauce. And now you have a place to
you're
put
just
the
putting
sauce
it on the food
on
that
the
you're
product.
serving.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and get wild with it. Show people what they can do with it. You want a poutine, you want fucking pulled pork, you want this, that, the other thing. You can get all over the map with it and show people what they can do with the product.
No, exactly. It was
like
great.
a beautiful like mistake.
Yeah, it was like no, but like that's the thing. Like when you
not mistake.
No, but when you're in the bit and you work like you kind of make your own luck in a lot of ways. Sometimes you don't. I've got a lot of bad things happen. That was one of the good things that came up.
Yeah.
And then like that place. It helped us like kind of want to start driving revenue through the company. So like, because
that was a whole other different thing that you started selling.
Yeah.
So what do you have at the storefront? What would you call it? Like
I guess, but it's not retail because there's no walk-in, so it's like
you get your own restaurant. It's a beautiful thing too.
The takeout, like a chip wagon.
That's what I was gonna say.
Deal.
You don't even have any You don't have to hire a bunch of people. You have your cooks, you have your sauce, and that's it. You know what I mean? And your cost obviously for food and whatnot.
Right.
But it's not like you're paying to maintain a huge facility.
The overhead is not like a crazy thing.
Have, like waitresses.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just like you come here, you get the food, you go.
Yeah. No, exactly. It was
and
practical.
you want to buy some sauce? Here it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good because it's under the same company. Like I don't want to get into too much how companies and incorporated companies work, but like one of the things was we were like I'm like didn't have like banks weren't taking me seriously, you know what I mean? Like I was getting shut down left and right, and I already had established the company. I already had opened it, so like the shop down there helped drive revenue through the company. So they're saying,
it's a physical location now.
With a physical location, you're driving revenue, and now you're saying, okay, now I want to do the X, Y, and Z, like, and then so like that it helped like build to the
like justify the growth.
Right. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. So that was.
So how long have you had that for? It's been 2 years.
Year three. But it's it's crazy. So yeah, it's year 3. The first year we opened it, we didn't have like sauce for sale. We were just basically like a food shop. We'd make our barbecue sauce there, and put it on the food. Mm-hmm. But like we last year is when we started like selling the barbecue sauce. We kind of like last May was when we firmly established ourselves. We had the takeout food shop. We got our whole like barbecue sauce. We got our sauce and sales.
You're making moves in the pandemic.
Yeah. So I've only been in
might be able to
business
say that, yeah.
in a pandemic. Like when I was just 4 years of me.
So when you say in business though, like this was an incorporated company, I would imagine for
4 years, but
yeah.
with no revenue going through it,
Right,
right?
gotcha.
And that's the other thing. Like I went with a job. I still had to pay my incorporation renewals, like my
Yeah.
taxes, like your barcodes. Like I registered, like you have to pay money for them a yearly. So I'm like paying for all this stuff out of pocket.
Yeah.
When like we don't even have a company yet. Like for a while, and it was like.
But you must have been able to get some form of funding. Like I don't
No,
know, like,
like,
none
this
at
is
all.
called like that's what I'm saying. Like the stress.
So were you working like
I was-
side jobs?
I was
as
like
you were
working
trying to
side
build this?
jobs to like
Gotcha.
also pay my bills and to
Right.
like fund all the expenses of a company.
Yeah,
That's
it's not easy.
No, man,
People look at
it's tough.
entrepreneurship and they see the end result and they're like, oh, I just want to do
dude,
that.
I've seen you come in and be like,
Oh, you see
all
me be
over
like,
the place,
oh
you know,
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like your brain's
What's going
exploding,
on?
and
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
But it's beautiful to see like you pull up here in your truck, branded with your hat, branded with your sauce,
Yeah.
everything. I like again. I love that you're back in the glass bottles. I
Yeah.
thought that was
Premium products.
yeah, exactly right. Even I remember stealing the bottle. Like I tried the sauce the first time. I stole a bottle at the fridge at
Yeah.
work, took it home,
Yeah.
and I showed it to my
Well,
fiance.
that's one thing with me. I know when I pick up a sauce bottle and it's like this thin plastic thing, I'm just like, oh, this feels cheap.
Oh well, that when you had that other supplier that was, I
Right.
remember I was like, oh, I seen these plastic, and it doesn't even change the product, but it
No.
changes the presentation of the
Presentation of the
product.
product.
Like I said, like your branding was so early, was so good.
Yeah.
It never has to change. Like it's beautiful.
No,
You know what I mean?
it's-
But
it's
like,
good.
but yeah, no, I took that home. I remember showing my girlfriend, fiance now, and she was like, "Wow." And then I showed her dad. He's like, "Wow." And I'm like, "Yeah, this shit is insane." Like I tasted
Shout
it
out
on my
to
fingers,
the
like, this
general consumer being
shit's- well, just
super
like
appreciative of
everybody
branding,
that
but
I've
it's
ever
like,
showed that sauce to
Yeah.
is like,
yeah. Oh,
wow.
you mean are you talking about them trying it?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like just
No,
showing
no,
them
no,
off.
not the. No, I
What
had
a
nothing
logo.
to do with that. I just mean like, had nothing to do with that.
But
I love
there's
like
sick
I said-
people. I'm like that. Like for me,
Oh,
like
yeah.
like
Yeah.
when I like looking for a product, like that's like that's what will initially catch me in a lot of
Right.
ways, right?
Well,
Like,
100%. But
it's
I
very
think it makes a
important.
difference to people and they don't even realize it. Like, because that's the thing is like, it's interesting how much branding matters because if you go into a store, you're just like, I just need to get barbecue sauce, and there's like a large variety. I mean, price definitely comes into play, but also like how legit does it look? Because
Right.
if you don't know how any of them taste, you're like, oh, I like that logo, that bottle
Yeah,
looks nice,
no, exactly.
decent proportion
Yeah.
inside the bottle for the
You
price.
could put that sauce on the shelf next to Bullseye. You know what I mean? And it looks of a higher standard,
Right.
and it tastes way beyond their
Yeah.
standard. You know what I mean? Like it's your product is fucking like there's nothing you got to do to it.
yeah, you thank Nate for that.
Yeah, so that's true, right? So like I was wondering like what is like so you're obviously the entrepreneurial drive and you handle the business and everything, the branding and
Yeah.
all that. So is he solely responsible for the creation of like deciding what ingredients to put in it and like the whole aspect of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say solely.
Not, but like he'll do it and you kind of be like, no.
yeah,
like-
he's.
Do you like focus group that? You get
Yeah,
all the
we
boys
focus
together.
group.
you
We
hit-
do,
hit the
we do.
barbecue and
But like we like he is the best in the business at what he does. So you let the like it's like that's how you talk. Like you look small. Like you empower people to do what they do best, right? That's how you like. So yeah, Nate's. I'm the head of the snake. I have the final say on everything. You know what I mean? But like we let Nate do like Nate. That's what Nate's job. Basically, that's what his role in the company is. He's a kind of a consultant. Helps out with all the food and beverage side, some of the catering. But like I can't take credit. Like if you think like the products, I can't take credit. I can take credit for saying like giving it the
the
thumbs
idea,
up to
yeah.
go or whatever.
Go ahead,
yeah.
yeah.
But that's all Nathan, right?
I've had it.
Yeah.
He briefly worked at I can't remember the name of the golf course, but he had a position there. He was like running the kitchen for a minute, and we did some product photography there. And he cooked us what like cost wise, like you know what I mean. If you showed up at the restaurant, it would have been like $1,000
Right.
worth of food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything on the menu, and it was just like nothing I've ever eaten in my life.
Oh, right.
And nothing since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
I was
man.
just like,
Mitch,
and
yeah,
he's
he-
like beautifully presented
Yeah.
plate. Like he's
He's literally one of the
definitely a
best
genius at what
for
he
his
does.
age. He's one of the best chefs in the country.
oh yeah.
And
How old is he?
He's probably the same age as me. I think he's like
Okay.
a year or two younger. But like by the time he was 30, like he's literally one of the best chefs for his age and experience in the whole country.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and anyone that's had him cater for them, because he does like he has like or did and still kind of does have his own like.
But is that his own? Is that his
Like
own
personal
business,
in-home
right?
catering
Yeah.
business, like any but he's head chef down at Governor's right now.
Okay.
That's his main like job and career. But anyone who's ever like had him, they're like this is. It's what's great about Nathan and in that business, like the in-home catering and stuff like that, is that, and it's part of the reason why like we're in Cape Breton. We're lucky to have we have one of the best
they don't decide to leave.
If there was no Nathan, there's no like $200 tomahawk dinners in your living room with 8 people. You know what I mean? Like he like that right. So like when we have gems, like when you have like in our community, like you find gems
full of it,
right? And it is full of it though. It is right
with this essence that needs to be like released across the continent. Really,
yeah, and you gotta like empower those people, and hopefully they stay here. You know what I mean?
But because it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah,
they could go out somewhere and just work for somebody.
Right.
You could also build something here.
Sure. Exactly.
I know you guys had the actual storefront in the Mayflower Mall for a bit, which was
sick.
crazy to see.
Yeah. First year back before we get in. Don't lose your train of thought. But like, so we after all the shit that I went through for so many years to get this thing going, right? So like, I finally had like the facility, the loans in place, was like ready to put the pen to paper. COVID hit. It was like, then the people that were going to give me the money, they were like, "Oh, can you resubmit everything?" And then how you're going to survive,
how you're going to adapt to this.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, is this? Are you kidding
these are the real effects of COVID.
Oh, right.
You know, like
so. Anyways, I did
aspect.
it, and then like, but like, it was like the last thing. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Right.
Like, and so now I've only been in business, really like my full business during a pandemic.
Right.
Right. And like, I'm proud, like to say, like we've grown. We've only been in full business for a little over a year, right? And we're like in like 40, 50 stores throughout the province. Every Sobeys in Cape Breton. We had a storefront in the Mayflower Mall. We have our own takeout food shop. We do a lot of content. We're at the Mitchell Squared podcast.
Yeah, the Squared podcast, baby.
Would you expand the food business? Because I feel like that's
sure. Yeah, of course we will. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could go at a province with that. You know what I mean? And really start to eat your way through Canada.
Yeah, like the food business, right? The food is a tough business, so like it's not like
the profits aren't super high.
Profit margins are low, and like I think we can expand our food business locally, and like big scope picture. You know, like maybe you could
well, if you
you could brand it, you could
probably
like
cut costs
merchandise it, franchise it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like in theory, like it's one of those like long-term concepts that like.
But at the same time, it's one of the things that initially let you pump money into the business.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And not only that, but just the way it was done. Like I said, like you don't have an actual like a full-on restaurant where it's like you pay the cooks. You have a very low in terms of like what you could be paying for a restaurant.
No,
it's
for sure.
Cost.
Oh yeah, like you're
I feel like what's it called? Food truck.
Food truck.
Yes.
Yeah.
A food truck would be like
something we're
looking
into for sure, bro.
Set that up at like a beach or something.
Oh, that would make total sense. And that would probably be align itself with your branding as well, which is kind of
that's part of like what I like part of like you like we talk about like marketing and branding and like doing this kind of stuff. It's COVID's killed like that's a big part of my business plan has always been showing up at like let's say Myra and we have we just got one of those big we don't have a food truck yet, but those big like tents like the
pop-up tent.
event tents or whatever. We have like barbecue, so we like go there, throw a Bluetooth speaker, get some music going, like on sauces in the house, start pumping the dogs,
and then post it all over social media.
Get
We're
the video,
here.
Logan there with the video, get
that
the crowd going.
Restrictions either like a food truck, would it?
You
can just pop up anywhere.
I guess so. But like a lot of that kind of stuff for like the last year, like COVID's murdered it, and like stuff like your Rib Fest. Like, us going to Rib Fest, popping the tent up, getting the crowd going.
Have you guys done that yet? No,
because it's COVID. 2 years
time.
Canceled in a row.
Right.
Like your concert, your beach party in Bedeck for the weekend.
Oh, it'll be unbelievable.
You
guys can pop up anywhere.
Primed though. You guys are primed to pop.
Yeah.
Once that shit's
so that must make you a little bit calmer knowing that once
we survived
things open up a little bit. Yeah.
That was like that like I don't know off the top of my head, but that was like 30%. Like that's a big part of our business.
100%.
From revenue. Because from like a marketing and branding and
the food.
No, so when you go to when you go a Rib Fest. So when we sell the Sobeys, right? That's called wholesale sales. So like your profit margins are a lot lower because then Sobeys has to sell that product for a profit as well.
Yeah, and they're paying people.
When I show up Rib Fest and pop a tent up, I'm selling it right to the consumer. I'm doubling my profit.
Yeah.
Right. So like we've lost all direct to consumer sales basically. With all your Rib Fests, your Bedeck, street party, your whatever it may be, right? There's tons of them. Like before pre-COVID, you could be at one every week if you want.
I feel like you're sizzling on the back.
And do you feel
burner,
like the
though, man.
momentum
You're
was
gonna
picking
pop.
up to that extent where you were expecting to have a huge summer last year?
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
two summers. Like,
100%.
Yeah, now it's the second one, right? Massive hits in that kind of front. And then, like, on top of that, so you can go there, and then you bring a camera with you, right?
You
And
document the whole thing,
document
put up
the
on
whole thing,
YouTube, Instagram.
kinda- yeah, exactly. There's all your
Yeah.
content, boom, boom, boom. And it's the big part of your business, right?
So what is the sorry, we're gonna
I was just gonna say, I feel like your next summer, like you guys have been, like I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I'm like you're sizzling on the back burner, like you're building up all this momentum during COVID,
Sure.
and all of this like opportunity isn't being taken advantage of because you can't. But
Right.
now I feel like you're building like a reputation to the point when there is an opportunity like a Rib Fest or something, people are gonna be like, oh shit.
Yeah, we're teeing that.
They got their own tent here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just this random, guys.
Who are
that came
those
in.
guys? Yeah,
It's
like,
it's the Zion Sauce Co. We're gonna
Yeah.
go get their ribs.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
go, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No,
and
I
you'd
think
have
you're
that
right.
hometown support too.
Once
for
everybody
sure.
can come out,
Yeah.
especially at Rib Fest here,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a killer.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, boys. Like when we like make like the barbecue quick tip videos or whatever, like and stuff like that. Like when you buy and it's part of like the business model, and it's part of like adding extra value for the customers. Or like, did you see the video of Nate, like the love rub? Where like you can never have too much love rub, and I come in and like it's a couple funny videos.
Well,
like,
those are important too, man, because
Yeah.
that makes people be like, "Oh, these guys are
Right.
I want to buy their sauce because they're
yeah,
fucking."
and like the
entertaining."
barbecue quick tip videos and stuff like that. Like that's when you buy like a $6 bottle of Island Sauce Company sauce. Not only do you get a great barbecue sauce for whatever, like you get our YouTube channel that tells you how barbecue quick tips. You get some comedy relief on our Instagram.
Right, yeah.
Like we
That
donate to
stuff serves you
local
forever.
charities. Like
Oh, well, it shows you what to
yeah.
do with the sauce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you get like your $6 not only gets you bottle sauce, it gets you some how-to videos, like so you can improve your cooking barbecuing game.
Yeah.
It's a portion of our donations to community charities. Like so, by supporting us, we're also we go back. So like you're
Supporting Cape Breton.
adding so much value when you buy a bottle of Bullseye Barbecue. You're not getting any of that additional value, and that's one thing we want to provide, right?
Well, I feel like this is part of how, like, another example of how, like, your university studies kind of come
Sure,
into play with your entrepreneurial ideas, because you might not be thinking so much about the importance of community when it comes to your business.
You're right.
You want to have
Great
people
point.
involved. You want people to feel like, because I know that you've said this a few times in some of the posts I was just looking through and everything, like, it's not just you and your ideas and the sauces that you approve. Like, you want to have input from the people who have supported you
100%.
along the way.
Yeah, I want this to be a community thing, right? Like I want that's part of the thing. Like I want like us to all have fun with it. I'll feel like we're a part of it. And like that's one of like the biggest other goals. Like so like if the community supports us and buys their sauce, whatever it may be, like I want to hire more. Like that's more people we can hire, more like
Right.
donations to charity, and
You want to pay it forward. Like, you want to give back to the people that are supporting you. and
yeah,
helping you.
yeah. So it's like it's a community thing. Like if our community and our customers say we come on, we really want to have this sauce or this, you have a stake in the game. You guys, this is what you guys want. If people let us know, all right, we'll do it. You know what I mean? Like so, like it's the support. You're part of it. You're not just a name and a number for us. Like think Bullseye
Right.
Barbecue gives a shit about like
No.
any of that stuff, right? But we do, right?
Man,
so like
the Bullseye
we have
Barbecue Island Sosco beef is starting
yeah,
tonight,
it is,
baby.
it is.
Take
Come get
full
some.
responsibility
And
for
that's
that.
what I love about your content
Yeah.
too is like like you said, they don't have. I haven't researched it myself, but you said they don't have much of anything in terms of like social media presence. Like you're putting out these tips, like, oh, you want to cook this? Here's our awesome sauce, and here's a tip.
Well, I
you
think
know
it's
what I mean?
that
You're
hunger
leaving,
too,
and
right?
that stuff lasts
Yeah.
forever, like 5 years down the road.
That
Everything that you've invested in terms of content
Yeah.
is going to be there and is going to pay its dividends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
sure,
Like,
it's a long-term investment.
and,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying like the way that you guys run this company is just it's
We're getting
it's
there,
its own
man.
beast, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. You know.
Do you? Oh, sorry.
No.
No, I was gonna say, do you think that like, because at the end of the day, like not everybody, like I know myself, like I know if I'm eating something and it is delicious, I'm gonna appreciate it. I'll go
Sure.
back, I'll eat it again, whatever. But I'm not a food connoisseur by
Right.
any means.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not a sauce connoisseur. But like, do you think that like what is it that you think makes like the actual quality of it stand out from another sauce?
Yeah,
Like explain like the general person, like if they're like, oh, the branding is great, all this stuff is great, but like the taste.
okay. Yeah. Well, well, you're full of great questions, man.
Oh,
You're killing
man.
this, man.
I gotta come with
I
it,
actually
baby.
kind of have like a thought on this.
You know what's
That-
crazy with that question? My train of thought switched halfway through, and I almost forgot what I was gonna ask. And I actually created a whole different question. That wasn't even what I was intending to going in with that. Like,
You could have fooled me.
I don't want to answer your question, but I have been thinking about this the whole time. Is that like a company, again, we're shitting on Bullseye, and I don't know if this is
this
confirmed,
episode's called Island Sauce Co. calls out Bullseye for
but
an hour and a
I'm
half.
just saying, they're probably owned by a parent company that's owned by a
Right.
parent company that's owned by a parent company
Yeah.
that's owned by Kraft. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something like that. So there's no real personality. There's no real investment of fucking blood and sweat and tears into that.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be, and somebody's probably struggling somewhere that's got like an office job where they're like, oh, fucking, whatever they're doing. But it's not the same thing as starting from the ground up.
Right.
And you have this amazing chef and this guy that's got this fucking beautiful deranged vision of I'm gonna be the sauce guy. and then you put that together and you actually make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is not what those companies are about. There's nobody on the shelf at any grocery store in the country that is doing that.
No.
It's a great
You know what I
promo,
mean?
bro.
Yeah,
Just
hey,
flip that
you're
poster,
hired,
bro.
man. You're
Yeah, jeez, are you trying to work for Island Sauce?
No, I'm legitimately though.
But I want
No,
to
that was
I want to
great.
get back to answering like the
Yeah,
taste
yeah.
question. But what I will say about that, like when I ever talked about like how I thought about like things earlier, and like it all boiled down to like if we can provide a similar or better quality sauce than like let's say whatever your Bullseye or your Guy Fieri or whatever's on the shelves down there, your
Kraft.
Spirited Mickey, whatever. so if we can provide like a similar or equal or greater quality product at an equal or similar price, why wouldn't anyone buy it off us rather than? And then when you
Right.
think about it, like, no, why? Well, of all the stuff we're talking about, how we're looking to hire people, we're doing stuff for the community, like adding personality, adding extra value. Like, why? Like, really, why? Other than
if you put that on the shelf next to Bullseye, why would you pick that over this?
if it's similar or greater quality to similar
better
comparable
quality.
price, right? So like that was the and then, but back to the taste question.
Mm-hmm.
I won't lie to the customers or people. I'm not going to tell you this is the greatest sauce on the entire planet because it probably isn't. It's great sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, there probably is a better one out there. I'm sure there is. But it's a great product. It's great sauce. And we segregated in like our first three products is Cape Smoky Barbecue. It's got a Cape Breton base, Smoky Mountain taste. We got a honey
Go
barbecue.
off, baby.
Oh, honey.
That was the one that actually got me. I still
That's what
at the
I
office,
have
the
that,
Cape
yeah.
Smoky
Yeah, Cape,
Barbecue. Dude.
that gets the crowd going here in the Cape. And we got Highlander Honey Barbecue. It's got a honey flavor, but it's got a saucy behavior.
Ooh.
Right? And then we got the spicy
Fires.
Chipotle Barbecue. It's got a Chipotle bite, but it's spiced just right. So right off the hop, taglines are mint, but I love them.
Dude, let me write the next one.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
Don't get lost in the sauce.
Don't get lost the sauce. But right off the bat, we had like honey, smoky, spicy, sweet. So you get your three palate profiles, right? You're not fooling the customer in one, trying to do too much, and two, trying to like they know what they're buying, they know what their palate profile is, their preferences.
I thought that was smart
Right?
too. That you guys kind of like the Chipotle, like at the time that you were dropping that, like you'll see things like I remember when kale became like a big deal in food.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Chipotle
it
was
like,
hot then, yeah.
Well, Chipotle was just like, you know what I mean? Like you guys really kind of strategically walked into that, like the flavors that you were going to isolate. You know what I mean? Like that was a good call at a good time for it.
Yeah. But you ever go to like you look at like some spirit like the sauce like Spirited Mickey's and it'll be like I don't know, there's like fucking jalapeno mango,
Some weird. They're
fruit
trying to
test
get
it,
wild.
whatever.
Like,
And that's probably good. But like, there's a lot of times I know from just being a consumer, I'm like what what am I buying? Like ours is like it's sweet, smoky, spicy, bang, bang, bang. What do you like? What do you want? Here
Straight
it is
to the
for you.
point
yeah.
and it's good.
And it's straight to the point. It's good. You don't have to worry about a thing, right? And then for those who don't know like they want. They can grab one and then they can try all three, which we very highly recommend.
What's the fan favorite?
I think Cape Smoky Barbecue,
was gonna
right?
say it has
That's
to
our
be.
that's our kind of a flagship. That's Nathan Susan's creation. So that's like the one thing about that product. It's its own distinct like sauce. So like our Highlander Honey Barbecue, there's lots of other honey barbecue sauces on the market. I particularly think ours is one of the better ones, if not the best. But the Cape Smoky's like you can't buy another product like that. It's its own
that's the
distinct
one that I
sauce.
took home and I showed
Yeah.
my girlfriend. She's like, "Oh my god."
That's your unique one.
Yeah, that's our unique
'Cause
one.
if I guess I would imagine like if you're doing ones that like if you have flavors that are pretty common, they could be overshadowed by the bigger brands. Or
Right,
like
right,
that.
yeah. So yeah, like the flavor profiles themselves are common, but that doesn't make the sauce.
That's what I was
common.
gonna say is that they're a higher quality, and that's what I was saying a minute ago. You didn't reach out and do something wild. You did something that was on par with the expectations, I think, of the time.
Right.
But you did it well, rather than like Kraft could fucking throw together a Chipotle barbecue and it's gonna be random, some shit on the shelf.
Right.
Like your stuff was quality and fit what people were looking for.
Right.
It wasn't like you said, not like jalapeno, mango, fucking pineapple,
Yeah.
grapefruit shit. You
yeah,
know what I
you
mean?
just you're confusing I see a lot of times like I don't even know what I'm buying. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we didn't want to try to confuse the
And
customers.
it's cool to try that, you know what I mean?
Oh,
and
for sure.
Throw some weird stuff
Yeah.
out there, especially if it's good.
Yeah.
But you guys took something that people would be comfortable picking up off the shelf, like a honey barbecue or a Chipotle barbecue.
But
you
like
know what I mean?
when you
But
buy a
did
sauce
it
like
high
that,
quality.
I didn't mean to, like.
No.
There's been plenty of times I bought a sauce like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like taste like this, and I thought it was gonna taste like that. Like ours is called honey barbecue. It's gonna taste like
Honey barbecue.
honey
How many
barbecue.
times
Honey.
have you had a Chipotle product
yeah.
and it doesn't even taste like Chipotle?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One thing I noticed, and I thought the thing that made your branding stand out more than any other local business or any product or restaurant, whatever, is like a lot of people will want to be witty and comedic and the stuff that they put out to promote their business. But I find like and everyone likes to be a little bit humorous when they're running a commercial, their ad or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I noticed your guys' stuff is it's almost like the sense of humor is like totally off the wall, which I can appreciate too.
Yeah.
Like and to choose that as the approach to running just to do because the what was it it was on YouTube and stuff too, I think. You use barbecue sauce to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
As a
That's
replacement for
hilarious.
shampoo
Yeah.
and like
Oh, yeah.
what was it to go with like that just kind of Super Bowl just out of pocket approach when it comes to comedy
I don't know.
or advertising?
No. Yeah. Like it's just like that's my personality.
Oh,
I
me
guess.
too. That's why I
Yeah.
can appreciate it. I was like,
Yeah.
no one's
Yeah.
like really like because you know the amount of effort and like just amount of hours you put in to just kind of make a product that everyone takes
Yeah.
seriously, and then you're like, here's our witty commercial, and it's like, oh man, I love this sauce so much, I brush my teeth with it.
Yeah. Well, it's like it goes back to what I said before. It was like adding the extra value. Like that's like use the honey, like the commercial with the honey barbecue and brush your teeth with it. Whatever. Like that generally gets people to laugh.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Right?
Because it's really not like a complicated decision to choose what sauce you're gonna put on your wings.
Yeah,
or your,
that's right. Exactly. And
pork chops.
that causes people to laugh. Whatever. It's a good
It's
time.
like, fuck it, I'm gonna
We're all-
buy that
And that's
next
a
time.
community thing. We all share a laugh. Like it's the barbecue sauce you put on your toothpaste, and that's part of like that extra value to the customer. We'll also give you a little laugh here too. Other than giving you a great sauce. So like some of that stuff just my quirky. It's great.
But that's
like,
all you, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
creative
That it
ideas
is.
for
Yeah.
talent,
We have like a little team now, like with Logan coming on and Nathan and stuff. But predominantly, it comes from me. Like just like because it's just one of those things. It's like okay, it's obviously good on chicken and ribs, but it's also great with cereal.
You're like, I don't even brush my teeth with toothpaste anymore. I just use my sauce.
Just use
And I was like, that's all I needed to see, man.
And like we know from marketing and branding, like you obviously want to have
The cool,
something
funny
that stands.
thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
that something stands out. It's like, oh, that's the guy with the toothpaste or whatever, right?
yeah.
Like so any little angle that can help you, like obviously sell your product too certainly helps.
Oh, definitely, man.
But that's like you can't really take it too. That's what's differential. Like that's what's different us from like every company.
A
we
company that
talk
might
to.
take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, like
You gotta have a good balance between taking your business seriously and
Professionally,
then still having a good time.
That's right.
Enjoying yourself when doing stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. What was I gonna say? But is there anyone as far as like? Cause I feel like a huge inspiration for you is the branding aspect of things and getting people's attention and stuff. So like, is there anyone that you personally look up to as far as like a business owner or just someone like an influencer, content creator, anyone like that you kind of get some ideas from? I want to close that door real quick.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, man. There's lots. I'm sure you have a bunch too, right? Like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like for me, like obviously, like within music and stuff, there's certain artists that I've looked up to as far as just like I don't know if you know who Russ is, but he's this artist that like put out like 10 albums and no one listened to his music, and then decided to just record a bunch of music for 6 months, and just he realized that people were only listening to the first song out of his whole 10-track album because they were like,
Right.
people don't really have the attention
Attention
span to
span.
listen to a whole album
Yeah.
from an artist they aren't familiar with yet. But if you put out one song once a week, it's like you're putting out a one-song album to kind of
Yeah,
capitalize on
that's
people's short-term attention span.
Great marketing plan.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I could appreciate people in the music business that kind of have like, obviously, I like their music, but I like their creativeness when it comes to like figuring out an independent
How do
blueprint
you
to
get
get them
there?
to
Yeah,
where they're going.
that's cool.
So like,
you can almost relate that to opening a restaurant to put the sauce in front of people.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
but like, and then obviously like when I got put onto like, I'm sure Gary Vee.
Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
I feel like any business owner
Yeah.
that's between like 20 and
Sure.
40
Yeah.
is familiar with Gary Vee
Absolutely.
because he kind of, is the most mainstream person when it comes to like enforcing the importance of like content creation
Yeah.
and just being active on all the different platforms to
Yeah.
get attention towards whatever
And
you're
same thing
trying to
with like,
grow.
the sacrifice and stuff that we.
Well, 100%.
and
It's
he's
like
big
it
on-
doesn't
he's
come
big on that
overnight.
too, right?
And he
Doesn't
kind of
come overnight.
normalized
Yeah.
how common that is to
Sure.
not be like ashamed that it's taking you like a long period of time where you decide to go with a new idea at 29 or 30 when like the conventional mind state from like 30 years ago is like you need to have a kid, you need to have a house and your
Right.
9-to-5 job and just it's over,
Yeah.
But so like people like that are kind of like and hold a high regard in my mind. But like, is there like a local business owner that you think that you kind of like, oh man,
Definitely.
I want to get to that level, or even someone on a broader scale
Yeah.
that you're
No, for sure. Like I honestly like I work for Boston Pizza on Prince Street there, Gord Card.
Same.
For years, right? And like very smart guy, great businessman, but like he always saw like the long view. Like I'll tell you, like I remember when he opened the place, everyone thought he was gonna lose his shirt, right? It was like, and he obviously saw a long view, much like I did. I'm sure much like you do. He always like would invest in like the future of his business, like let's say he's like I'm just this happened, but I don't know where he was financially at the time. But let's say theoretically, he's in his third year or whatever, he's still losing money, still not drawing a profit or whatever. And like when there's like the Vincy Ryan hockey tournament, and like everyone was asking like put on deals for like the Vincy, and he'd be like, well, not really, we're busy, like we're full anyways. And those people are only here for 1 weekend a year or one, right? They're not. So after the tournament's over, he like closes down his bar and does like a thank you event for all the volunteers for the Vincy, and provides free food. So like the 50 Vince Ryan volunteers come in, they come in and boss pizza free, and like that's like he's losing money, like it's probably accountant or his bookkeeper's like, no, we gotta, like, you can't be doing this right now, like look at the but he's like, that's like those kind of like, but those people, that investment,
They're
like
never gonna forget that.
never gonna forget it. They're telling all your friends, family, you know what I mean, and it's genuine, and like all these like long term things that you do when you see your business lasting long and doing it, like I took that a lot, and you have to be strong willed to do it, right?
You have a lot of mental discipline.
Like,
I
right.
understand like the benefit in like something like kind of like contributing to your community when you might not even necessarily be in like the financial position to do so.
Yeah.
But you just know that like the genuine appreciation from those people will eventually come back and reward you
Right.
in the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
where it stood when you were working there, but when I worked at that Boston Pizza, it
Yeah.
was in the top 2 in the country
Yeah.
in revenue.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what I mean?
it's
like
one
that
of the
Boston
top ones
Pizza
in the country. Yeah.
it was
is.
between that one and I think one in Dartmouth.
Yeah, they're
That
two
was
of the top ones.
The,
yeah.
the top. No, that's a beautiful thing.
But
The
I worked
place-
there. I worked there for like a long time, off and on, and like there's a couple of like questions that Mitch asked, like Matthew Giorgio. He's a local guy, runs Go Cape Bread and a bunch of his other companies as well.
I think Mitch knows him.
Yeah,
I don't know
he's just
personally,
I have a friend that works for him.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, Matt Giorgio. Well, he's just a great guy. Like, like he has Media Spark is his company, and in Gold Cape Bread. And he has a lot going on, and he's great for like anytime like I need to ask questions or get help. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he'll take the time out of his busy schedule and like help anybody out. And I was one of those people. Like, I knew him from basketball and stuff. So, like to answer Mitch's question, like and then there's I call them the trailblazers because like I consider myself one in a lot of ways, but like
definitely are. Dude.
the guys from Breton Brewery, like they were before me, and I call those guys all the time, bounce stuff off, and they help me out. So those guys definitely look up to those guys.
They jammed their foot in the door, man. Like they got serious business, man.
They do.
You see that big door open, man, and they're just packaging beer and shipping that.
Yeah, they're doing great. I would assume. I don't know. I don't have access to their books or anything like that. But
looks damn good.
They like they
have a great product.
They were someone like they were a trailblazer. And, like they were one of the first to do it, right? And they're around the same age as me, so. So those guys for sure look up to them, and they're there. And it's great is that they when I call, they answer and they give me every bit of information.
I feel like COVID really put a damper on the whole everything that was going on in the entire world. But like Cape Breton was on this upward trajectory that it hadn't had in decades. Right before COVID, you know what I mean? I remember the last year I was working at 902. They had to turn ships away at the pavilion there. You know what I mean? Like it was everything was ramping up.
Yeah.
All these cool things were happening here.
I
can't wait to see COVID end. I can't wait to go to the first Rib Fest. And
I feel like if anything, that
rib.
just creates more of a desire to go back and start doing that shit.
Yeah.
Anyone that wanted to visit Cape Breton in 2020 before things shut down for the summer, they're definitely coming in this year or next year. And I mean, obviously, the more tourism is just the more exposure for what you have going on. So that's exciting for you guys.
Oh, I think Cape Breton. I think hopefully, like as we turn into roll into next year and things get more and more. I'm really I've been optimistic of the future of Cape Breton here, and I think it's like it goes like a lot to like we talked about guys, Breton Brewery, myself, you guys, and many others. Is like Nathan, like there's lots here, and if like the people like decide to stay here and willing to kind of like invest in doing their craft, their talents, and keeping it here. Like Cape Breton will just thrive even more because there's just as good as people, just as talented people as here as there are.
100%. It's like if people see.
It's a perfect place to get away.
Yeah, it's a perfect place to get away. Definitely, if you're going to the Highlands and all this stuff. But even when people come here for tourist purposes to go like do the Cabot Trail or whatever, they're gonna want to eventually, depending on how much time they have, go into like the city per se and just come check out what's there and like. There's a lot of things to offer, and like you said, like if some of like the real game changers decide to just continue building something here, I mean, it's an open market in a sense because like even with the podcast, for example, like I can't really think of another platform right now that could grow and have people like yourself or like with artists or entertainer or anything like that could jump on and be able to talk in like a more long-term format for a period of time.
Think of how like that what we're just talking about, how this podcast here is a great example of how much potential it has to build and grow, and you guys are talented, young, like cool, guys that are doing something like, and like you're here doing it and you're staying here doing it, and like like there's an opportunity. You guys can build a great thing, and you guys can be super successful. And you can do it right here in Glace, Nova Scotia.
Well, 100%.
People don't realize how much of a gem this place is.
Yeah.
Like when I think of like traveling myself, because a lot of people, tourism is a huge thing here. When I think of traveling, I think of food. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna go to Mexico, I want to eat their cuisine. I want to go see what that's about. So you come here.
Mexican black shits, man. Mexican black. Anyways,
what is it?
Elaborate.
I'll tell you later.
But I just feel like there's a lot of people that, like you said, they're going to want to go into the inner city. They're going to want to see what this place is really about. They're going to want to eat the food. That's
you can have a balance of the community and the country lifestyle too. It's like you could be in the country for like a week. I'm like, all right, what's going on in this city area?
Yeah.
But even in terms of like, say, your realm, like musical artists want to get the fuck away from people. You know what I mean? Like if there was like a banging studio, Jay opens up, or Nookie has the studio. There's a studio going. Like you could get away from everybody. You could eat this beautiful food. Like Cape Breton is this place where you can come to get away.
I want that vision,
and have the best
like
of everything.
for you guys to like that think that like that is capable and possible, and it's capable and possible right here. Doesn't mean if you have dreams and aspirations of doing something somewhere else, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Well, you could go and do that, which is still something that's like definitely in my plans. But it's like
and you
can also bring it back here. You can be the guy here, and you can help other people that are talented from here that have great ideas.
100%.
And you could use your resources and your understanding of whatever industry you're in to help benefit those people
100%.
and give them a realistic shot at what they want to do.
Yes.
Because. I look at it as like if that guy can do it, regardless if he's in New York or Glace Bay, it's still possible. It's like you just have to be willing to sacrifice, like you did, to get to that point.
Yeah. Well, like I always looked at it, and I wasn't. You were.
No, I was like waiting for you to come in.
Yeah. So like you look at like something like Steve Nash. So like like he ended up being like an NBA MVP or whatever. Like, he came from a small town in
He's a short
New Brunswick. Yeah,
motherfucker, too.
6'1",
Yeah.
like, you know, guy from.
Is he only six? He's 6'1".
Maybe 6'2". Yeah, not a very big
I'm
guy.
5'9".
Yeah.
I'm like
I thought
5'7".
he was 6 even.
No, I think
Still
he's
generally
6'1"
tall
or
guy.
6'2". But anyway, whatever it may be.
Fuck his height.
You know, he's from a small town in BC.
do
He
math
came the
again.
NBA MVP. Like, it's not like that's an example. It's all possible. And so like for me, part of the reason like I want to be successful because I want to, you know, like fulfill like my life
You're gonna be
goals
like,
and
I
wanna,
told you so.
Yeah, you know, there's that chip on the shoulder, no question.
Starts with survival, and then you want to tell everybody to go fuck
and
themselves.
support my family and stuff. Well, I really want to be
Go fuck yourself.
like, yeah. But like, I hope that like, you know, if I'm successful, then I can help the next generation. You know what I mean? The more, just like I said, Brett and Brewery kind of like helped me. You know, I could talk to those guys. Then like that's like a tree effect. Like you know,
Right.
Then it's 4
They've
people.
established themselves.
Yeah, and then it goes to 8. You know, then there's like.
Do they carry your stuff?
No, but like I was saying when you stepped away, like they're guys that I consider myself like a trailblazer in a lot of ways.
Your thoughts off.
They were trailblazers in a lot of ways. They started a business here in Cape Breton, and I came after them. I was able to call them, talk to them. They answered my questions. They helped me out. And you know what I mean? Now I can do that for the other people, and like it's like whatever a tree or whatever. Like you
Like you were saying earlier, the
a pyramid or something. Like it
entrepreneur-
spreads from down and then so I think that I don't know what I was talking about really, but.
Well,
just
it
kinda
goes
like
back to what
passing
you're
the
saying
torch.
earlier.
Yeah, helping the next generation. Like I hope I'm able to like be successful and establish things and stuff. One for my own like you know selfish benefits or whatever, but more so for like the future because I know how hard it was for me, right?
When the next
and
generation
it sucked,
comes up,
man, and it
man.
sucked.
Yeah. Well,
and I hope that
legacy-
it's not half as shitty for the next guy. And if I
Right.
can help
you
him
were
do
saying
that.
earlier, there's so few people in the entrepreneurship, atmosphere here. You're one more guy.
Yeah.
If you can support the next 2 guys,
Sure, exactly.
Now there's 3 guys just
100%.
under your umbrella. Now there's,
That's right.
Well, you know what?
It's a snowball effect.
There is a lot
You're
of
a part of that.
small businesses here. Like I mean, there is an entrepreneurship spirit in Cape Breton.
No question.
I think.
No
I mean,
question.
you go to any small town, there's mom and pop shops
every-
left and right. I mean, it's not an uncommon thing, but
No,
I
it's
think
not.
it's the drive of people that are from here that want to be something bigger than just a one shop location.
Right.
You want to make an impact, and I think from what you're saying here as well is like you said, for your own selfish purposes. But I mean, obviously you got to sustain yourself, and
Yeah.
you need to be able to take care of yourself and your family or whatever from your job, and your job is running this business. But you want to also, and I think for myself as well, is like you want to build something that at the end of the day you have an impact and a legacy that people are like,
Definitely.
well, he's the one that started that, and he helped that business start. And that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a big part of your drive. With
Of
this
course
stuff.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be crazy not to be.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
like it's all for me.
Yeah, no, like exactly passing that down and having that impact. And like honest to God, because like you probably feel the same. Like if I can like be successful, like I think like we got a good thing going here, but I'm hoping like 5 years from now, like we're doing a lot better, we're crushing it, we have a lot more things figured out, but like I am the most regular guy. Like I want people to say if that guy can do it, then I can because he literally like I'm just literally a normal like a lower middle class.
You just had an idea and you
Cape Brettoner.
ran with it.
Scraped my way through college. You know what I mean? Worked as a bartender. Scraped my way through college. Like, and if we can end up being like successful, it's like then it's like literally that Kev T can do it. Yeah. Oh shit! Like we can do it then. We're way smarter than him.
Well, that's the
Right?
relatable
Like,
story.
yeah.
But it goes to show sometimes, and no disrespect to anybody who's attending like post-secondary school or anything like that. I mean, you did yourself, but it's like it's not always the qualifications. It's the drive and behind the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put 12 hours a day into anything for an extended period of time and you don't give up at your first, sign of rejection,
Right.
eventually something's going to work.
Right. But what I will say about that, and that's a great point, but like you have to have I wouldn't recommend anyone put that dedication into a shitty idea.
And
Of
into
course.
anything. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So
So
you
like,
did your research.
yeah,
like
like,
the way that you
so
came
you
into
have
this.
to have that
obviously
drive.
be prepared.
No,
Yeah,
you
like-
know what I mean.
Like don't like I recommend like you have to be willing to sacrifice, put in the work, not take no for an answer and stuff. But you also have to be critically think and stuff like
And
learn at
analytical.
university to analyze and be like, no, okay, I realized that like my first idea when I was 20 years old was selling water-filled mattresses or whatever. Like it's not a good idea. You know what I mean? Like, well, I said, I analyzed this. I saw what was happening. So it's like you need that like drive and like that persistence and that
sure.
don't give up.
Well,
It's
you
so
believe in
But
interesting
don't do it
to
at
me,
like don't be blind with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well,
Like
I love that you came to it from
Analytical,
You,
like-
you found a hole
in the market
and filled it.
Yeah.
Rather than
Try to like join the hole.
like, oh, well,
Cram
like
the
I
hole.
was before you showed up. I was like, I started getting to make my own barbecue sauce last summer. You know what I mean? So this is probably how this guy started. Is like he did something. He was like, this is fucking good. I show my friends, and then you roll forward. But you were literally like, here's a hole. I'm gonna take advantage of it.
Yep.
Let's get the chef guy in.
Yeah.
Let's, you know what I mean? Let's
That's straight
boom,
up.
boom,
Shout out
boom,
Chef
boom,
guy.
boom. Like you just.
Chef guy.
No, I'm just.
no
saying.
but no you're right no
You know,
that's, yeah.
you saw the pieces of the puzzle that needed to come together.
Right.
I didn't mean to call him the chef guy. I just-
No. I thought that was just a
He's
funny
got a name, man.
I didn't mean it like
Shout
that.
out Chef Guy.
I'm saying you saw a hole.
You're a desk guy.
You saw I'm a desk guy. Wow, that's a blast.
That used to be his name on my phone. Why was that your name on my phone?
Because of that. Remember the how not to be a rapper or some shit. We did a couple videos long ago where I just was desk guy. That was
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I remember.
It started with a music video, I think.
Yeah,
But anyway.
that's why you're desk guy.
No, yeah, you saw a hole and you just picked apart everything that needed to be in place for you to
Yeah.
accomplish that.
Yeah.
That blows me away way more than if you were just like, I really like barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like you really like.
Well,
it's
just
it's
kinda-
a different angle on it.
it's
for
more
sure.
relatable.
And I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I don't know. Does everybody like know that?
No,
Because I feel like
this,
that's.
I think
a
this
thing that,
podcast
like,
will. This is breaking
anybody
news
that,
here.
Anybody
Yeah.
that ever said to you that you were crazy
Yeah.
for doing what you're doing, that is a shit in their face because like that's so crazy.
But
to
that's
just-
what I'm saying. Like I knew, like this was not something like, oh, I'm making barbecue sauce. Like and no one would know. I don't expect people to not. But I was like, I put a serious amount of work. Like this was all planned strategically, like marketing. You know what I mean? Like knowing my strengths, pulling in other people's strengths. Like it was a calculated.
Yeah, it's very.
Um,
It seems so bizarre, but also incredibly smart.
So I know
in
that
hindsight,
you
yeah.
put a lot of focus on the content creation. Obviously, you have the YouTube channel and everything like that. And you said like you working with Logan Latulip. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
He will actually be a guest in the next couple episodes.
Good.
So
Yeah,
I like
good.
what he's doing and everything.
Yeah,
Always
Logan's
have.
my guy, man.
But
He's an
have
animal.
you ran like the thing is like so for as far as like online exposure towards the product and everything like you're making this great content like the barbecue tip videos and everything like that. When you're making the videos, you put them up on YouTube or Instagram and anything like, are you guys actively like running ads every now and then to reach some more people to be like, oh, what's this? I like what they're doing as far as just the tip aspect, and let me
Right.
follow them and try some of their sauce.
Yeah. So like I will be honest. Like the so yes, we have done the simple answer question. Yes, we've done a little bit of that, but like the biggest negative factor, like or I don't know the proper adjective, but in our business right now is that I've had to do so much for so long. Like we definitely are not like we're missing out. We're not doing a lot of things you have to do to grow levels and levels, and it's because
What the by the book have to do?
well,
kinda
it's just
thing, or-
like some of your marketing stuff. Like how are we helping monetize a great video or whatever?
Or dropping like 50 G's on fucking like a strong, huge advertising.
Yeah,
campaign or
yeah.
something,
So
you know
like,
what I mean?
it's just
Yeah.
like we're getting that like stuff out to the people. We've done it probably more organically.
which is better.
Yeah. So like our following is pretty good for considering we've only been in business really for like a little over a full year. But like also like our following is like loyal and they're legit followers.
So they're gonna continue to bottle.
Yeah.
They're gonna buy another bottle when their bottle runs out.
Like I remember seeing like I won't name the business, but it's like someone from around here or whatever. They have like I remember like they popped up like I think it was even after us or whatever. And I remember looking, they had like 10,000 followers or whatever like that. Or
you gotta
like,
know where.
And then like, but I searched and it was like there had been like 5,000 to 6,000 Mexicans and Cubans on like in their follower list. Like you know what I mean? Like they weren't real followers. They look like real followers like when you pull up their page and it shows they have them, but like they're fake followers. Like they're not like our followers are the real people
And
that are
that's
really
so much
buying our
more
products.
valuable
than
that
the
really
number.
like
And
right?
also, I feel like we've been on social media as a society long enough to be able to pick out when someone's
Yeah,
followers are
differentiate.
fake.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's not really as impressive of a thing to see anymore. If you go hear about something, click on it, and you're like, oh, they just opened up their store yesterday and they have 10,000 followers. It's not
Right.
possible.
It's not,
Yeah.
no, exactly so. But to answer your question, like we like the YouTube channel, like it's something that like that's something I really want to like kind
Work
of
more on, yeah.
work more on and do stuff like what you guys are doing.
Well, that
And it's
content's
just
gonna
like,
pay.
but like it, I'm in the process of hiring some people now and stuff like that to help take off a few more hats and stuff. So there's a lot of those things that I have the vision and I have thing, but like I just haven't been able to fully execute yet, just because there's only so
I
many
have a
hours in the day.
question for you here about this too. Like, do you find sometimes like, okay, so just get a better understanding, like as far as employees, how many employees you have right now,
So
and then I'll kind of segue into what I'm gonna ask.
none in a way. Like, so we have a couple employees that are great guys, great employees that work down at the snack shack down at our
Right.
takeout food guys. They're
Gotcha.
great employees,
like kind of
great guys.
part time.
Yeah, like seasonal, like great guys, but like they're not working like in the business, like in term. So we now have Logan, who does a lot of like the social media and some of the video stuff and things like that. And we're in the process of hiring, hopefully, like starting like this week, hopefully, someone that starts taking away some of my roles. But really, it's me, Nathan, who is really like more of a because he has a full-time job. He's more like a consultant. He's there when we need him. Like, he does some of the caterings and helps develop the recipes, but he's not like fully active in the day-to-day operations.
Right, yeah, he's not 9 to 5 like showing up.
It doesn't
consulting,
really have much to do in the day-to-day.
Flavors, he provides that.
And then so Logan does the marketing, but other than that, everything's me.
Gotcha.
Right. But that's not going to be for too much longer, hopefully. And part of that is like once again we lost 30. Even we've done well for the first year, really in business, and we've also lost 30 or 40% of our projected revenue
because of COVID.
Right.
So what I was
so
going
it's
to
just me, basically. It's just me.
Well, it's just you. Well, and that's incredibly impressive because of what you guys have been able to accomplish and the foot in the door that you've been able to make on everything. But like, what I was wondering is like sometimes like I feel like when you're growing a business, and I'm assuming, and from what I've been able to see, you obviously your passion, is beyond just the standard whoever you would get to work, like you said, seasonal at the spot and everything like that. So like, is it difficult sometimes to wear all these different hats and then also like respond to any questions from like an employee or someone that you just got on? They're like, okay, this is what we got to do, and they're like, they're the only one working there, but also like you're trying to handle like 10 different things at once. Basically, I feel like is the question is kind of like, is it hard to kind of communicate almost when you're trying to do so many different things? Because you basically are the only person essentially working 24/7 for this company right now, right?
Yeah.
But you hire someone, they're doing their thing, and it's like obviously they're getting used to the job or whatever, and you got to focus on growing the business as well. So does that kind of add a different hat to kind of be also like the communicator in that
that's
aspect?
That's gotta be hard to hire employees that you trust to carry out what you were doing.
Yeah, I feel you got to put a lot of
and it's never going to be
on them.
perfect.
No, it's never.
I feel like that's like not necessarily not perfect, but nobody is ever going to be you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's like a hurdle that I don't have a business, but I've thought about this. Like if I was to run a business, and then to trust somebody else to carry out the same quality of work as myself.
Because you got to accept that the care is not going to be the same.
Yeah, nobody is ever going to be you. So you got to that's probably a difficult thing that you're going through right now.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I'm very picky with who I hire, who I'll bring in. And that's probably been a little bit of a detriment to the company in some ways, but in some ways I think it could not be.
It's difficult. It's a jump that you got to take.
But you might miss some opportunities or lose some growth short term because you didn't get someone right away or hire someone. But like we always pick the right people to come help us. Like we're playing a girl starting next week that we really like. And I fully vet it.
Shout out to her.
I feel comfortable.
Hopefully, we didn't want to put too much pressure on future employees. That question, I was like, but basically, kind of like, are you at that point where like you put so much time into it, are you comfortable stepping away?
Yeah, but
you gotta be able to trust.
So my guys at the shop, and that's part of the thing. Like the business has suffered in a lot of ways to a certain extent because. I'm still in some ways. I'm the guy counting the quarters. You know what I mean? I'm doing like little things when like
you're used to that.
I'm not. I'm still working in the business too much, not on the business enough. If that makes any sense. But like when you find the right people, you have to like. I'm lucky. I was like a head coach of a basketball. I've coached basketball for years. Been like, I'm by no means perfect. I have plenty of flaws, and I'm not a perfect leader. But like those communication skills and leadership skills.
You know who to.
Yeah,
you know who's gonna step up.
Like for instance, like these are the things you do for employee. Like so, like when the guys working at my shop, right? Someone comes in, they give them a big tip. I go jack up their order, like give them some extra shit because I didn't make the tip, so they get to spend my money to give the customer better
Better
because
satisfaction
they got a bigger because they get like that doesn't but like I do that for like them, you know what I mean? Like you communicate, you find the right people, right? Which is hard, and then like you talk to them in your community and you get them like you know, involved in the journey, like and knowing that like you care about them and stuff like that, and then that way it makes the communication easier and it makes it easier for you because you trust them and they're like, man, I don't want to screw this guy. Like they feel like they're part of the journey and stuff like that. So it's probably I could be wrong. It's easier waiting longer to find the right person than cycling through 3 and 4. Like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's a lot more valuable.
Well, I mean, we both worked at Boston Pizza. I don't know what it was like when you were there, but there was like a revolving door in terms of
But in those jobs,
employees.
that's the way the business works.
Yeah,
right?
but you're like where you're building something from the ground up. It's
Right.
like everything is organic. Like I know I remember when I was working for 902, filming something at Breton Brewery, and like some guy got in a car crash or something. Like everybody at the whole place was like so concerned, and you know what I mean. Whereas Boston Pizza is like you don't even know the guy that you're working next to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you're building a community in and of itself around this company, and all of these people like 10 years down the road. You know, whether it's the guy that's delivering your sauce, you know, next week or girl or whoever, you know, whoever it is that you hire, it's going to be your real base.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's like to answer your question. That's been some of the hardest parts.
That's
like,
got to be difficult.
Yeah, it is. It is really.
Yeah, I don't feel like people look at that too much, but it's like I just hear something like people have sometimes a difficult time like working for people that own like smaller businesses because it's just like, you know, sometimes
More
the
particular,
agenda's all over the place because they're wearing so many different hats.
Right,
You got to
yeah.
understand how much work goes into growing a business in the first place because, you know, it's more than just a 9 to 5 and sometimes there's less short-term reward.
Right. Oh, no question. No question. Yeah.
Would you
gotta be able to
guys
trust those
also,
people.
I feel like because of how important and we can wrap this up too soon because I know that we've been going for a little bit here, but how long are we on for? I feel like maybe it's not even that long. I don't even know. I feel like I'll lose track. Oh,
we're doing all right. We got a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like because you were talking about like showing up at the, you know, the beaches and getting everything set up and all this stuff and how important like the community aspect is of the business and stuff. Would you ever consider like hosting events in the future?
Of course. Well, actually, when I first launched the company, okay, so like when we had them, I told you I had like a bottling company, like to start. We sold bottles for like 3 or 4 months at the very start or whatever. When we launched our first bottle of sauce that only lasted like 3 months or whatever back in like 2017, the first thing I ever did was promote my own concert. Island Sauce Company presents Pretty Archie and Jordan Musician.
Nice.
And so we had like I was the promoter of the concert. We were on top, but no one knew who Island Sauce Company was then, right? It was our
like whatever
premier event.
Archie
Yeah. And then we had like a little thing set up. We were selling our sauce, so we sold. You know what I mean? And that was our. So yeah, absolutely. Actually, next in like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's the 17th July. I don't know if you ever heard of Live Life Intense. It's like a.
Is that like the festival that's like in the?
No, it's like they have like a glamping. It's like Marguerite.
Yes.
They have like the tubing down the Marguerite River. They have the tenting there. They have hiking stuff. So, anyways, we're doing one. Finally, we've been able to do something.
Right.
We're doing like a co-promote. We have a co-promoting with them, like Live Life Intense and Island Sauce Company. We're gonna have like a little concert on their property. So like people pay like $35 and they get the meal from Island Sauce Company, and they get live entertainment at Live Life Intense. And then most people that are actually attending are people that are staying on the campground.
Right.
So that's like an event. So but we will hopefully in the future,
I need to go to that.
I feel like
sick,
mobile
man.
food is going to be like, I don't know if that's the avenue that you're trying to pursue, but I feel like mobile food is like
definitely
a huge
trending
thing for you. Like you can spread your sauce like a virus.
No, that's
you know what
that's
I mean?
no exactly. That was always part of the plan, right? So luckily we've had the shop like that at Open Park, right? That at least we had something. But like the traveling, like getting out and going out and being on the road, because like we said, like something we value. Like one, you're obviously like getting revenue and expanding your customer base and stuff, and then you're grabbing all that content along the way, right? The cameras.
Well, man, I
rolling.
think
creates
that people are gonna-
opportunities,
people
creates
will-
jobs. It's
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People will appreciate that too, man. Because I know for myself, like I love to just go on YouTube and just find like kind of lifestyle documentation videos of like people that inspire me.
Sure.
So
yeah.
like I love to go to YouTube like for inspiration. Like it'll range from
Absolutely.
like artists touring and like, you know, podcasts, from even like comedian tour videos, anything like that, or like people that just do like the travel vlogs and stuff like that. So I think that like the combination of like just the documenting the journey is super valuable, and I feel like people can fellow business owners and stuff, people that are trying to do something that's similar to what you've grown, but maybe in a different industry, would still connect with you documenting the growth.
I couldn't agree more.
And then that would just automatically make them be like, oh, if I'm getting a barbecue sauce or anything like that, I'm just gonna buy Island Sauce Co. because I like their videos and what they're putting out there and doing beyond just the product that they're making.
Yeah, you get it, man. You're spot on. Like, you should be fucking teaching classes on this shit. Like,
I'd love to. Well, you watching.
No, you're spot on. That's exactly it, right? Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Like, all that, and like, it's that's what we want to do, and like, it builds that personality. Like, at the end of the day, too, is like, that's part of the feel you want to have from the companies. Like they're buying the sauce off us. Like it's that same feeling. Like, I'm hoping 20 years from now. Although, like, I will step back. Like, I still might be the guy dropping your. You know what I mean?
If you love that process.
Yeah, being the guys doing the events, but capturing the journey. Like, I love that stuff on YouTube too. Like, watching someone that I love it, man. Like,
you might not even like. Yeah. It's just the feeling you get from it. Like, it's not.
Well, you do. I couldn't imagine stepping back from that, man.
No, and that's probably that's probably stuff I won't step back from. Really, you know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, that's who we are, right? I probably won't be scanning all the receipts and
the boring stuff is just like tedious. But like doing the stuff you enjoy and then being the creative head behind the growth of it.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, like you do things that like you like want to do or enjoy doing or love doing. You know what I mean? Like all the stuff that like this kind of concepts and theories we're talking about is like stuff that like you as a consumer like enjoy from another company, or like when I watch YouTube videos of these people, or I buy these products. And like it's like I want to do stuff like that. You just kind of follow like what
Is there any people that you watch on YouTube that you kind of
there's stuff like you talked about. Like you said, like Gary Vee. There's tons, man. There's tons.
Is there anybody in your space that you look at? Because I feel like you're kind of in a unique space.
Yeah, I can't say that.
Where's all the sauce YouTubers? Where are they at?
Well, not necessarily sauce,
you gotta be
like I said, there's this relation. It's not just sauce; it's food.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So there's like.
There's no one really like, but like you pick you pick up like little things from everyone. Like this, it's so blended over time. I've been like kind of like molding these things in my mind for years, and it's blended from everything. But like you like, so ever watch Epic Mealtime? So that's a little bit older. You should go back. Yeah,
we were like
go back.
13, 14 when that was like.
Yeah, you would have been like 10 years ago. They probably, I don't know if they still do stuff now.
I have no
but
idea.
they're like big, kind of like
bacon strips.
I remember the name.
But see, remember I was like, the sauce fathers don't deal in bologna.
Yeah.
The only currency I know, macaroni. You know what I mean? So like. That's what was like something from like Epic Meal, like something at Epic Mealtime. Like you gotta go watch Epic Meal.
They had these little punchlines.
They had these like punchlines. Yeah, exactly.
Daniel's meat sauce.
Yeah, you got sauce.
Yeah, they had Muscles glasses.
Muscles glasses.
I've seen that. Yeah.
They just had the glasses and the bacon,
so, like,
bacon strips.
Right. So like you asked me like there's little pieces that
you kind of
you take little pieces from Gary Vee. You take little pieces from Epic Mealtime.
I can relate to that too, man.
Little pieces from little pieces from whatever, right? You just blend it into like.
You don't want to be a replica of just one person.
No.
You know what I mean? You want to take the business motivation from Gary Vee, the humor from Epic Mealtime, and the creativity from yourself. Combine it all together in a blender, and then you get Island Sauce Co.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. It's got to feel good at this point. You're at this like beautiful
here's something for the boys though, like just to like move like on to like something a little lighter, like the sauce. So like you said, you're not a sauce like manufacturer or like condiment. Right? Like so here's what I wanted to get the boys thinking about, right? Like okay, it's all in all, it's funny. Like put it on like toothpaste or use it as shampoo or whatever like that. Like that's a little outrageous.
I'll brush my teeth.
I listen. I'm not telling you not to.
Toothbrushes.
All right, like, it's good in your it's good in your coffee too, right? Lactose intolerant.
Oh, I saw that. I knew there was a third one. I was trying to remember.
Right, but like in all honesty, like. One of the things like we want like to try to promote, so like everyone knows, like, okay, ribs you put sauce on it, like chicken you put sauce on it, but like we want to try to promote like
cereal.
Yes, but outside of being ridiculous, like cereal, like think about different ways that you can use sauce. So, like one person was like, "Hey, I mixed this sauce in my meatloaf."
or
Whatever.
background flavor and some rice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
background
With-
flavor and some rice.
like
a base for like honey barbecue chicken pizza. You use it as a base for your
yeah,
pizza.
exactly. Yeah.
I like putting barbecue sauce in some of my scrambled eggs.
I was gonna say that, bro.
Right?
Yeah, I've
That's what I'm
never done
saying.
that actually. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. One guy told me that like
Oh, dude, I'll put anything on eggs, bro.
oh for sure. And the
you
love
need
rub,
to,
the
eggs
love rub,
Well, eggs suck.
love rub's good on everything, man.
But I would I put hot sauce in my eggs. Every
oh,
morning.
hot sauce and eggs is like
That's it.
it's like spaghetti and meatball. Man.
Do you-
Like,
yeah.
Do you
Peanut
have
butter and jelly.
if you're ready to, if this is the thing and you're ready to drop it, what do you think you're working on next for flavors?
So
Because I know that you've had your staples.
yeah, so
and
we'll,
then the love rub is
I'll
new.
I'll give you I'll drop it right here on the Mitchell Square podcast. So
New flavor
yeah,
alert.
yeah. So in a couple weeks, so it always has been we had our 3 staple barbecue sauces.
And then,
Then we
love rub
launched
is
the
next.
love rub.
Yeah, and people
Um,
really
which
fuck
we're-
with that.
Yeah, yeah. And then so the next one we got jalapeno and garlic seasoning.
Oh,
That's
Oh,
yeah,
baby.
Yeah,
seasoning
jalapeno
with
and
the
garlic.
sprinkle.
It's like the love rub. It's in the same bottle. It's another seasoning, but it's more coarser. That's like a finer seasoning. More rub. This one's more coarse because like minced garlic, like chopped jalapenos and stuff like that. So it's jalapeno and garlic, little garlic and
That in the
spice.
burger.
Oh man, I crusted my salmon with it the other night. Pan fried it, bang bang, really good. And then
I
we
got
got
really hungry.
yeah, and then we got and then we got a cheese seasoning, like a
cheese?
cheddar seasoning. Yeah.
Oh,
so like you know how like you have like your Kraft Dinner cheese,
Mm-hmm.
like you just like put in like whatever. So it's kind of like that, but like we blend it with some salt, pepper, paprika, chipotle powder, and made like a little like spicy cheddar seasoning. So like yeah, you can put it on.
Get the fuck
yeah,
out
you put it
of
with your
here.
ground beef. You know what I mean? You can do a lot of different stuff with it. Like you put it in your macaroni.
You literally make your mac and
different
cheese with
pastas.
this.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna have like our 3 barbecue sauces, our 3 seasonings, and then from there, then those 2 seasonings will be out like in the next couple months. The jalapeno and garlic's coming out shortly, and then and then after that, it's let's give the people what they want. It's straight
It's
up
open floor.
It's
Just-
open floor after that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So how will your process work with that?
Well, we'll just talk to the community. We'll get your
Have,
feedback.
like, a vote?
Yeah,
Like,
we'll
here's some
do some
options?
social media stuff. We'll listen to the people and
Yeah.
like, and what we'll do is in a lot of senses like those are probably gonna be our 6 staple products. So like they'll be in like stores like Sobeys, like our racks. You'll have your 3 sauces on one, and your 3 seasonings, 3 sauces, 3 seasonings, and then everything after that will be like we'll put it on our website. We'll put it at our store. It's like we could come out with like a whatever, like a tartar sauce. Honestly, it's tartar sauce. Let's say that. And like it might not be in every like we're not gonna like put it out like wholesale like you can buy, but like you can buy it online from us. You can buy it from us, and we'll put it in select stores. So it's like
The more exclusive.
I'd
Yeah,
love to see
yeah.
I'd love to see a
and
hot
then like
sauce.
yeah, hot sauce. That's what I mean. Like once we got this kind of done, which we'll have done this summer, then it's like we're opening the floodgates and whatever. And then you might not see it. Like we're not gonna. That's gonna be your 6 staples wholesale, and whatever. And then everything after that we'll just do. And then and then find out what people like. So like, let's say we do a tartar sauce and we bang it out, and it's lukewarm, whatever people.
Yeah,
like.
you just-
Then okay,
yeah.
oh whatever. Like then we'll
Pull the
just
plug and
yeah, and then
if the
we'll
hot sauce is killing it, you go that
then
way.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll just kind of get weird with it a little bit and have some fun, and that let the community dictate what comes next. And like one thing we plan on doing, like we've already talked about it, but just like I have to be ready, but like maybe doing like something with Breton Brewery, like a Black Angus barbecue or whatever, doing like whatever, make just something for Christmas, like you make 5,000 bottles, and you can just get the only place you get it is at Allen's Osco or Breton Brewery, and just do little things like that. So
Right.
that's one thing we're stoked on, because then we can kind of get creative and have fun with it a little bit, because once we got our staples, kind of locked in. But back to what I was saying, like the boys get weird with the sauce at all? Like you said, the scrambled eggs, like boys.
I would love for you to
boys
try
gotta start
this,
thinking about like how you get weird with the sauce a little bit.
I
like.
cook a lot, man. I started doing this thing at home. I cook like, especially since this last lockdown. Like I work in a kitchen now, and then I went from like busting my ass cooking all day to like I'm home with the kids. So I was cooking all the time, and we don't have a dishwasher, so we're washing all the dishes. I'm like, how can I do this in a way where I'm not doing that every 5 minutes?
Right.
You know what I mean? Washing all these dishes. So I started cooking a whole meal in one pan to see what I can do. You know what I mean?
No, that's smart.
Like you
I
get the
like your
beans,
head
you get the beans, you get the onions, you get everything. You get your big piece of meat. You know what I mean? And
Oh,
I'm
for
playing
sure.
around with flavors. I would love to get some love rub in the mix. Actually,
I brought those for you guys. So yeah, we got love
Like,
rub for everybody.
but
All
that's
the
what
boys
I've
in the
been doing.
house
I'm-
here at the Mitchell.
All the
I would
Square.
love
boys
to-
at the Mission
I'm
Square
love rub.
podcast, we get love rubs
Yeah.
every day.
I'm gonna get the
Love
kids
rubs.
going with this tomorrow.
Yeah.
The one pan meal.
Oh well, one pan
Sprinkle
meal
some love
is
rub
a
on the
staple of any father is a 1 pan meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you? His dad's cooking like what do you? Beans and wieners and macaroni and cheese.
Oh
and-
no, dude. Fuck that.
When you guys were talking about Epic Mealtime, I was thinking about that YouTube channel. Have you guys ever? I forget. I don't know if they still make videos, but it was really popular, but it was really fucked up. It was like a dude who he would only film like his hand, and it would be like kind of titled like he was making something, and then he would just make a complete mess.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It was like it was
That's
tutorial,
hilarious.
5-second tutorial or 5-minute tutorial.
5
I know what
minutes,
you're talking about.
and
You
it
just
was
start throwing eggs at shit.
dude.
Is that what
It
you're
got
talking about?
crazier the bigger he got. I think he got like 20 million subscribers, but he was like,
No way.
but
No,
like,
it was,
he
it was like how to make French toast and just start throwing eggs off the wall and
he's
shit.
like bashing plates off the wall, and there's a junk. Like it's a disaster. His kitchen, it would take like 2 hours to clean up. Eggs all over the floor, like
He
fucking.
had to pour a cup of juice, just takes all the eggs out, puts them on his fucking stove, starts slapping the eggs in a mush.
I think I've seen him on TikTok actually. Like I think he's still
that-
doing it somewhere.
It's
Really?
kind of
That
like
sounds great.
Oh, it's kind of well. There was no purpose to it.
No.
It was just chaos.
Yeah.
That's so random. I haven't even thought about that in years.
Well, you're
What if
Epic
what if he like
Mealtime.
just drops a product in there and then you throw all the burgers out the wall or something like that?
Dude,
I had to make scrambled eggs, just smash. You break a couple eggs, just smash a whole bottle of sauce in the bowl. You're like, all right, let's go.
Jason, can you find that and figure out what that's called? That's it. Just type in guy who
It's like,
destroys.
like have a blender or something, like throwing the full eggs in the blender. Like throw the full bottle of
bottle
barbecue
with the
sauce
glass.
in the blender with the glass.
Shadow.
That actually just reminded me of something else. There used to be a YouTube channel called Will It Blend. Do you guys remember that one? And it was basically the same thing, but it was like, what will blend? And that was the whole
Nothing.
concept.
Yeah.
Like, can I blend an iPhone? And this guy's making like
Oh,
fucking
it's
kinda like the same
thousands of
thing,
dollars
yeah.
on ad revenue.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I can blend rocks.
Yeah.
Dude would make a huge mess in his kitchen and waste some like $100 grocery order, but he would make fucking gold.
Oh yeah,
That's
great.
cinematic excellence.
I feel like that like there's some of that though. That with quality product is like what makes you guys your
Well, I
own
mean,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't gotta make a mess at the kitchen.
No, you're obviously not slapping eggs.
you
but,
can.
Like,
Yeah.
You could do a collab with this guy.
Yeah, that's.
Have
the
you
same
ever
thought-
thought of like influencer marketing?
Yeah, well, that's like we're gonna be looking into that for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
We have. It's like it's something I have teed up. So remember, I said I was like looking to hire someone like that's part of the like the plate that I want to put on. I'm obviously gonna oversee everything, be a part of it, but like we have like that kind of stuff in the works.
If
and-
you go to a bank, let's say, and like my experience in this is nowhere near as much as yours, but like if you're do you have to like if you're like trying to justify what the money that you're looking to get the loan for is going towards, and you bring up things like influencer marketing and content and stuff like that, I feel like it's obviously becoming more mainstream and people understand the benefit of it, but we're still kind of in that mix where it's like only a certain age group is going to understand how impactful that is.
Right.
Is it sometimes hard to justify where you're going to like allocate certain money towards as far as advertising when it's like more like
probably depends on the
nuanced,
depth of your business
like,
plan,
You-
right? Like,
Well,
Well,
things.
it is like part of it. This is I want to be like frankly honest. Like the worst part of like I am as a business analyst is like dictating finances and 17% goes to marketing and advertising. Like that's like one of my to a detriment probably. And we're gonna have, I have an accountant and a bookkeeper and they help me, and that's part of us rounding out this business and getting things fully established here in this next little bit. But to answer your question a little, you're right that there's so many people, or like that still or banks or whatever way you classify it, that don't see or understand certain value, like they're more old school X and O's per se, right? And I mentioned like this long term thing, like I remember I mentioned the Boss Beats the Gordon Carr thing about I will continue to invest in things that I think are important, that add value, that might not show up on the stat sheet or a regular standard X and O business plan for a bank, but I know and understand that I feel comfortable with. And I've seen other people do it. It's not like I'm the first one to do it. It's proven in its own way.
I feel
it's conceptualized maybe as you said in a mainstream way, but I will always do things that are best for the company and the community long term, even if they might not show up on the stat sheet or.
Do you feel like that?
short term?
Do you feel like that community investment, like, benefits you when you're going to say ask for a loan? Or
No,
to,
it isn't.
No,
not really. I mean, I'm lucky.
that's crazy.
Listen, I'm lucky enough to deal with a credit union. The credit union's only like community-owned bank there is. The other banks are just not. I mean, banks in general.
But they don't look at
friend
like,
and,
okay, this guy had say like $20,000 to put into like meals for people in need. They don't look at that.
I think that a credit union
Might, but not
will
probably not like
to. I'm not, we're dealing with banks here.
Yeah, they just need to know that's gonna make money.
Yeah,
They don't really care about
They
how
don't
nice
give a
you
shit
are.
about that. Any bank, but
Yeah, like,
I
oh,
will
but
say that a
he's a
credit
nice guy.
union that there's humans there. That those
Yeah.
they're not blind.
It's a little bit more locally focused.
Yeah,
They
for
understand
sure.
what's going on in the community.
But
where-
no, that's the problem in a lot of times when you do stuff like this, that you are doing things intrinsically that you know that's going to add value to the people, to the company long term. That's not showing up on your balance sheet right
Pays the
now. You
dividends
know what I
down the
mean,
road.
right?
Well, they don't want to know that they're going to lend you some money, and like half of it is going to like be like donations
Be
or something.
wasted.
Like that. Like,
So
Yeah.
and
they
so.
want to
you
know
not
that it's going to go
profitable for them.
towards
Yeah.
you making the business profitable and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. So I mean that's the shitty side of the business stuff, man. It sucks.
That's kind of
Do
insane.
you guys have a TikTok?
I feel
no,
like
I don't.
I like that. I feel like the value on TikTok, depending on what you're doing, is like because it's still like very algorithm based.
It
So
is,
it's
yeah.
like you post something, you use the generic hashtags that have like 1 million posts behind them,
Right.
and it'll show up on
Everything.
10 people's feed, and if
Yeah.
half of them like it, they'll show it to more, and it kind of
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
in that cycle until something blows
Yeah.
up. So there's a very high level of potential that comes from it. And I dabble with it a bit, but
Yeah.
I feel like I put such a high focus on like YouTube and Instagram, and I find even Facebook that there's just too many different things that you can pay attention to,
Yeah.
and the content is a little bit different. But I feel like especially like the tip videos and the how to or whatever, like just anything like that you post on Instagram, it could do fairly well on
I
TikTok
feel like
as
that's
well.
so
Yeah.
important. Like the other day, I couldn't remember how to spatchcock a chicken. Like what the fucking not the other day. It was like a couple months ago, to be honest. But I couldn't remember the exact procedure. There's like a fucking thing that you got to cut in the breastbone and pop it open. And so I YouTube that, and then I found a video. It was like 11 years old. You know what I mean? And I'm watching that. So like that's what I was saying earlier. Is this content that you're putting out? Not only like when somebody buys your sauce, like somebody could go and buy your sauce and then be like, "How do I make ribs?" And then they look it up, and you're right there
Yeah.
with the tutorial.
Yeah, sure.
Like, oh shit, I got this sauce. I look up how to make ribs, and now here's this like 7-year-old tutorial from the same company on how to do it with this sauce. Perfect. I don't have to do a fucking thing.
Yeah.
I put the sauce on the ribs. I do what I got to do. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely, man.
that's an investment that even if you're losing money on that now, like say content creation, like down the road, that can pay back because you're there and then you're there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's true. It's an investment. You nailed it. And the answer you're 100% right. That's the whole like general idea and process behind it, right? And just adding value and all that kind of stuff that short term, long term, you're building something that's as a full round circle, full round scope, value. It'll be seen and noticed tomorrow or 7 years down the road, one way or another. In terms of TikTok,
It's just building a catalog.
it is building the catalog and building all that the extra.
I feel like you would do well on TikTok.
Yeah, and I'm super interested in TikTok. I was right from the. I'm like really in like if you looked at my like personal like Instagram, like I was probably one of the first like couple like that. Probably not really like. I want to think it was one of the first couple thousand people on Instagram like 15 years ago. Like I was like one of the first people on Facebook out of anyone I knew. Like Instagram, I'm probably the first person I know that was on Instagram.
2012.
I think it was
That's
even,
what I meant.
I think it was even anyways, and like when TikTok came up, I was super interested early because I listened to Gary Vee and stuff like that a little bit. And anyways, I think it's really cool actually. It's not really our demographic in a lot of ways, but I think that's
I feel
changing.
like it just helps you find a demographic.
Yeah,
you don't really know.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's something like when we get a fuller scope to our business, more employee, like then we're gonna be like when we sit down with it in a creative meeting when I have one or two then we go okay what are we gonna look at
You can focus on where you're going.
Yeah.
Not just like I
Right.
need to get this delivery to this
yeah
person.
that's exactly
Yeah,
exactly.
there's
But
less
I am in,
clutter.
I think I think TikTok's really cool like in the concept of
Well, you guys could literally do like
he got a hot mic over there.
Well, yeah, actually, one of the reasons I use TikTok is actually cooking tutorials.
Yeah.
Like that's why I wanted to
it's
like.
really cool set up for that. I
It's
think
short term,
There's
right?
a lot of-
short, bang,
like if
bang,
you were like,
bang.
I don't know anything about TikTok, but if you can look up how to make ribs, and it's like a fucking literally like a 9-second video, bam,
Real.
bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
You know this, put it in the oven for like 4 hours, blah blah, do this,
and
do
it's
that.
good for like quick little funny comedy
bam,
stuff too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Well, it's algorithm based too. So if you get presented with, if you look up a certain hashtag and then you like a couple of those videos, you go back to your page and you're gonna get fed more of those videos.
Right. No, it is. Yeah.
And-
Then that helps the algorithm
Mhm.
if you can, catch
Take
on,
advantage
take
of it.
advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I when I
I'm
was
certainly interested in it.
yeah,
I'm-
no doubt. Like
yeah.
I need to get back on it too. I posted a video of my dog being scared of this like fake rooster wing that I threw at it last year, and I got like 100,000 views. So I was like,
No shit.
you gotta just scare dogs. That thing.
Yeah, you know what?
Throw bottles of sauce at a dog.
I'll shampoo a dog with barbecue sauce.
Like crazy shit like that, bro. It's crazy because I think that's what we're so used to on Instagram. You need to have a decent amount of followers first, and then
First.
stuff that you make can kind
You
of
can-
catch on.
TikTok,
TikTok,
you can catch on with no
make it-
You
followers.
can do
an
something
account.
super random, catch somebody's attention, and then they like it, and
Yeah.
then it's 4 people, then it's
and I'm
18.
preaching TikTok, and I haven't
honest
posted in like
God,
5
I honestly
months
think
on
that,
there. But
that I like that.
Yeah.
That fits us more. I can make something that can catch on. But with
do you have it on
Instagram-
your phone?
No, I don't.
should
have
download it
I
right
should,
now.
Yeah,
You and Nate
yeah.
got to do some like
Yeah.
10-second cooking tutorials.
Well,
with the sauce.
my
Bang, bang,
brother,
bang,
my
bang.
brother does a bunch of home workouts and shit, and he's like 16, so he got to get jacked for the ladies and stuff. And he's in the basement. He's like, he got the bench and everything set up, and he's like, I just put on this TikTok account, and they just have a bunch of home workouts, and I do that, and like I've heard that from like a few people. I think my girlfriend said that and stuff. So it's like. It like 2 years ago it was like a platform for like it was previously Musically, which was just like kids lip syncing to popular songs
Right.
and making dances to
Yeah.
it.
Dancing.
So I think that like on like people that are like a little bit older than that demographic kind of look at it as like, oh, it's whatever. And I
Yeah.
feel like that opinion has changed over the
It
last
has.
year.
It has.
But that was my thing because I would see the content that was on it and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't think this is funny. It's pretty cringy. I don't want
Oh,
to download
yeah.
this.
Right.
But then I don't look at it.
It's
at all.
evolved though.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
I do like the value in it is crazy. But it eventually, I think, I mean, I'm sure it already has changed a little bit. But like,
I think it has
it
already. and it will
it
continue
was
to.
really easy to reach a lot of people quickly. It probably still is more than Instagram because Instagram. So this is the question I'm gonna ask you too. Do you find like you have an organic following? You grew
Yeah.
it basically without having to spend a bunch of money on Instagram ads or whatever.
Yeah.
Just kind of word of mouth and
Yeah.
being consistent.
Mhm.
Do you find, and maybe this is just me, do you find it's harder to reach people on Instagram nowadays?
It
Like I
definitely
know
is.
there's been some algorithm changes stuff, but like sometimes, and I don't know if it's just like when I post some of the clips of the podcast, it reaches way less people than if I just post a picture. So I don't know if it's the type of content, but I feel like it's becoming harder to reach all your followers on Instagram.
I feel like video on Instagram, like they did that IGTV thing, and it's
Yeah.
like you can post your long.
Well, that's
term-
what we posted the podcast
Yeah.
clips of mine.
And the
like,
reels,
that's-
they didn't
absolutely,
introduce
you can do that, but
There's
I
an
don't
app on its
feel
own,
like
too.
I don't feel like it's the long form. And I was just thinking of a point on this. The long like there's places for long form content that are good, and places that are bad, and that's where I feel like podcasts are getting really popular now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where people are really starting to digest like 3 hours of content.
Yeah.
And I
they
feel
are.
like TikTok is the extreme opposite of that.
Yeah.
And you can play both sides of that. But
Yeah.
I feel like Instagram maybe isn't the place for video. You know
Well-
what I mean? Where people are like trying to see a caption and a picture and
I've
fucking
watched some
scroll.
long
Oh,
videos on
definitely.
Instagram.
There's some
Yeah.
stuff, and me too. But
And I will
feel
too
like
on IGTV when it says, "Do you want to keep watching?"
Yeah, yeah,
it
keep
almost
going.
seems like there's more appeal for either
Our
long
clips
form.
do better on IGTV than you.
They do. I see the views on them; they're good. But I feel like there's nowadays it's like you're either really short, quick attention span, or you're like long term. I'm going to sit down and dedicate a few hours to this.
Yeah.
Like that kind of middle of the road content almost doesn't seem to hit as hard as either of those two.
Yeah, you know what I will say is that like, and it's something I haven't done in a while. I try to do it as often as I can, but you ask that questions and you're like, I got to go back and do this. Is like really go on and do your research about what the current algorithms are and what you have to do to maximize.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Because I've done that. I've been like a little kind of like that's something I've always like just like been a nerd about. But like I've been so busy with everything else that now I just caught my attention that like fuck I haven't like topped up like because they changed their algorithms and like now they have so many
fast,
things.
yeah.
So it's good to like and I just not even just going Google. You ever, like even going DuckDuckGo too. Because sometimes you get better when you're doing that type of research. DuckDuckGo is better.
It's not really biased at all. It's
Yeah,
just
that's right.
What's going to pop?
Yeah. So that's one way to top up on like
See
just
what's
like
really there.
yeah, because it changes all the time.
Mhm.
But in Instagram, I find like the way you post, because there's, and this goes on what you say, the certain content you post, whether it's as a video like IGTV style, whether it's on a reel, right? Even
Well,
from
Reels are TikTok.
yeah,
basically.
but they're on Instagram now too,
Yeah.
right? Like, and the reels are like
It's
TikTok.
people like saving their TikTok videos, just uploading
Upload
as
to
a reel.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So there's like, I know there's specific ways, like and strategies on all that stuff. And like what your video content, whether to post as reels, your clips, how to post it. And then I know too is like you have to get people to click on some of your content, and then once they click on something, they'll see more of your content, right? So like, if you like, and I don't know anything, like I'm not some like a pro at this, but I know like we will try to like get people spread a couple things out there to maybe appease a whole bunch of people, to get people liking our stuff so that they will see more of our stuff. Right. So if like we just did like one line of message, like posts, right, that we're going to get like people, clicking and liking, that's consistent, but like we'll spray a few other things out there that might get some other people's attention, because once people start like, they'll see more of it.
Right. Well, exactly. And you know what I actually realized? I do this sometimes on my stories. I regularly post stories. If I find like, if I'm posting a lot of like repetitive promotional stuff, the Instagram story views go down, because my followers are just like, oh, I don't want to click on it. I know he's posting like a teaser from a music video or something like that I might have already seen. But I find if let's say I travel somewhere and all the stories are relatively different, you see the views go up. But what I also notice too, if you just do anything that encourages your followers to interact with what you're posting on your story, whether it's like a poll, like anything, like, and I'll start doing that. It just kind of as an experiment. I kind of did that a couple months ago, where it was like, I'm just gonna post like really generic polls that I think that the average person will be able to have an opinion on,
Right.
and see what happens. And I was seeing like 80 people, like 80 to 100 people vote yes or no or this or that on whatever I posted my story, and then my story views like 5 times. So if I knew I had to like promote something that was coming up that I think would be a little bit important, a couple days,
That's interesting.
generic questions like, what do you think of this? Blah blah blah. Yes, no, yes, no. Next thing you know, now this is why I was doing that. Here you go. Now way more people can see that in the story. Plus, then more people are going to see your post, because Instagram is like, well, they like Mitchell Bailey's stuff.
Yep.
Let me do that. And if also a thing that Instagram prioritizes now the most, because people have bought followers, they've bought likes, they've bought comments, so people have figured out ways to finesse the algorithm, so all their followers, when they open up Instagram, when they post, it's the first thing that they see.
Right.
The number one thing that can boost you in the algorithm is the save button.
The save button.
Yeah. Which is not even bad, because it's like, I for one don't check my save. So it's like, if you just tell your followers, just save this so more people can see. What we're
Brent
promoting.
Murray and
I just did that.
You just did that. Is that yeah?
I did that contest.
Yeah, you did that contest. Well, that's great, because like they ask people, that's part of the algorithm now, to save the post.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's like it takes the less, like on Facebook, for example, like you post something on Facebook, and I've always found Facebook has been a really easy way for me to promote stuff locally, because you have all your people that you actually know in real life on there.
Your family, your friends, your close people, all the
Yeah.
people you really know that will support you. Sure.
Yeah, people are very particular about how like their Instagram feed looks. And
Sure.
Like, oh, does this picture look nice next to this one? Like, some people are really like OCD about that.
Yeah.
I found as soon as I kind of disregarded my care for that, I just was able to pump up more content, which inevitably is better. But people are more likely to just hit share on Facebook or something like that, because they don't really care what's on their feed. A lot of people just use Facebook now to just share memes or information or anything like that.
It can get pretty
just bombarded with
right.
crazy stuff. But that's the thing with the save thing. It's like, it doesn't like all the photos you save don't show up on your profile. So it's it kind of doesn't really take that much from someone who wants to support you just to hit a button.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll see people that I just genuinely
that's almost
support
like
and
the
hit it.
equivalent of like ringing the bell thing on YouTube, maybe.
Probably
Like,
anything like that.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I will just to touch on something you said about the story, Instagram story thing. And I think that you hit on a key, like a lot of story stuff you see from a lot of people. Like they're always trying to sell you something or promote you something. Like if you ever watched our story, like a lot of times it's just stuff like that people will like get a laugh out of. Like you know what I mean, right? And like I'm by no means am I a story pro or anything, but like I try not to always be constantly like just selling someone or like doing a promotion or like we have like a pretty good you know, you can check how many people watch your story, obviously, as you know, and like we have a pretty good story following, and I feel it's because we like we're mixing it up. We're not like we're giving them extra content that we don't post. Like
it's useful to them.
I feel like that cooking tutorial stuff, man.
And
like,
we post some of that stuff in our story too. Yeah,
like if you're doing like short, like, and I was thinking about that before. You were talking about more like sort of like a generic approach to
you always got to think
attracting people, right? Than being specific and saying, "Here's my product, buy it."
Exactly.
You know, it's great.
Yeah.
It's like you could do the rib or the steak tutorial in like 8 seconds in a reel and just have a little flash of your bottle. Someone's gonna see that. That could pay back way more than $5,000 into a ad campaign.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
you do a quick little 10-second. Here's how you make ribs on TikTok, and here's my bottle comes in the side like, psh, you know what I mean. That's all you need. And
they'll just follow you for those tips, and then you can throw in like use our code and get 25% off. From this video.
And like you always got to think conceptually on most things. Picture yourself as a consumer. Like, what do you like? Like, what? And then apply that to like, if you're running a business. Like, so if you follow an Instagram account and you're like, I hate following these guys that are always like,
do I want to be served an ad or do I want to be given a great piece of information?
Put yourself as a consumer and what you like and what your interests are and what you notice as a consumer, because we all are consumers.
100%.
And then just try to apply that like to your business or whatever you're trying to do.
And I think that makes people in any field stand out the most. Is if you take a consumer response into consideration when you're in the midst of making the product or marketing the product, you're going to do way better. Even during this conversation, there's parts where I'm thinking, oh, this is the best part. Or like,
sure.
I'm criticizing this mentally while also doing this. And if I'm writing a song, I'm thinking about like, obviously like I want to be personal myself and I want it to, I want to always stay true to my brand as a person or just how I present myself. But I also am like, I feel like people can put that as a caption in their Instagram post if it really reaches a certain amount of people. Like certain ways that you got to get excited about what you're making and like have it be fulfilling yourself, but also be like, I think this could excite other people as well.
Yeah, of course.
And that excites you more.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you do something that excites other people, that excites you more, it's like a compound.
And I can see where your energy is like people that are passionate about what they're doing and they have full confidence in the product or just the potential of what they're growing is the energy is really.
It is because people still don't see bullshit.
Everything.
Like I find sometimes when I'm hard on myself. Anybody, but like when I get going on something, I have energy and pumped and like it's not fake, it's not genuine. Like I'm actually excited about.
Well, because
like, why wouldn't
you
will be too?
Like,
I am.
Hey guys, here I'm the sauce guy.
Yeah.
Sauce.
Well, it's so
You can
boring.
put
It's like I
this
don't
on a burger.
Yeah. I don't want to get this guy's sauce. It's putting me to sleep.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to be able to criticize yourself, not in a way that will make you doubt what your capabilities are, but like enough to be self-aware to be like, I can improve on that. And this is, what I need to pay a little bit more attention to. But also, like, there's nothing wrong with when something is going well or, put your ideas into something and it worked to pat yourself on the back.
Sure.
Because that pat yourself on the back, for me anyway, like, confidence is a huge factor in anything that I do. I have to be confident. I have to remind myself. Sometimes I'll wake up, I'll just be like, what are some things that I'm proud of that I've done?
Yeah.
Especially when you go through some times that you might have doubts, and I'm sure you've experienced it quite a bit. Yeah. I find something that works for me is just like thinking like, oh, I did that. Okay, so don't forget, like, you have accomplished some stuff, because you sometimes can get so wrapped up in what you're working towards that you kind of, if it's difficult, you can kind of get discouraged sometimes. But I find like what works for me anyway, I'll remind myself like, oh, I did this in the past. So if I could do that, I could probably do this. Is there any ways that like you kind of like mentally reinforce yourself when you kind of run into a roadblock, like just keep going? Because
it's a great question.
Yeah.
I should probably talk to you a little more, because I think that's probably one of my biggest flaws is like I I get, I'm not always confident. I get down on myself a little, probably more than I should. And it's probably because I'm not reinforcing. Like I should probably call you. I should be asking you the question because I think you're right in so many ways, and that's I think it's one of my probably my biggest faults and things I struggle with is just like not getting too down on myself and what I could do or what I should have done or what I didn't do, and I think it sometimes affects my confidence, which then affects my energy level or how my enthusiasm and stuff like that. So I think it's important. What you said, I think it's just really important to really just be aware of that because even you just bringing it up, it just made me think man, I'm probably not doing a good enough job.
What do you mean by not doing good enough job?
Of reinforcing,
reinforcing it. Okay.
Staying positive or confident or whatever, and thinking about
Well,
what you just said.
I look at what you're doing, and I'm thinking to myself if I was in this position, I think I would be probably you got the whole branding, you got the truck, you got the product, you got the I don't know what you want to call it, the storefront, the food truck, but it's not a truck, the restaurant.
Yeah. But it's not a restaurant either.
It's on a different level, but you're probably thinking about, okay, I'm in 50 stores. I got to be in 100 because when I get to that point, or how many stores are you in?
Probably. I think
are you in 100?
No, we're in about. I'd say about.
I still want to be wrong on my number.
Closer to 50.
Yeah. So I know, if I get 5,000 streams on a song, okay, well that's nothing because that guy got 50, and I feel like that song's better than him. I'm well, no, but there's some people that have 50 listens on this thing.
You have to have a healthy amount of that, right? You
have
to be able to look at where you can be better. But like I said earlier, with the other people's doubt, you can't take your own doubt at face value and just be all right, I'm out. You know what I mean? You got to put the blinders almost onto your own doubt and kind of push through that.
Yeah, I think it's a good point too. Like you said, you're always looking at oh, what can I do? And then you realize holy shit, look what I've already done.
Yeah, exactly.
You're always gonna doubt yourself, but you also have to look and be I'm capable of this. I've done this. Push through that. You're gonna
it's
have
hard,
those
man.
moments.
It is that's that's the hardest.
Well,
part
I think that's why a lot of people throw in the towel. They're so focused on the next step, and they don't take into consideration how far they came. It's there's a line I forget. I was listening to this song, and it was I didn't get this far to get this far. It's you've already done so much.
It didn't get this far. That's a great line.
Yeah, I don't know who said it.
I don't know who said it.
The other day, I was well, that's true.
But it's true. It's you didn't go all this way to just to fuck it up now. You know what I mean, or whatever. Yeah, and that's you have to be wrong at that sometimes because it's tough, man. Just to find the motivation to keep going. Cause you're always thinking about what you Sometimes you think of what you could be doing or what you should have did or what you didn't do. And not focusing on what you said, what you did do, what you did, you know what I mean?
Look at all the things you did right.
Yeah.
I feel that drives me.
Yeah, and I should think about that more, man. I'm glad you brought it up because I honestly probably don't think about it enough, and it probably affects me negatively that I don't.
Well, you're just caught up in the day-to-day, but...
Yeah, I know, man.
I feel I just take... There'll be one point in the day, I feel I have
I'm going to call you once a week and be man,
tell me what... 100%, man.
Put me back in line here, bro. Put me back in line.
100%, man.
Yeah.
No, that's I feel that it's crucial to remind yourself about those things because it can get hard. I mean, especially pandemic and just I would imagine with some of the stuff that you were so excited to kind of get into motion, having to be thrown off for so long. It's probably sometimes hard. I mean, to be okay, we've lost a year basically.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't feel we've lost a year because if you're an entrepreneur, you're someone you're always going to be making improvements.
Yeah, it's really going on 2 years now because we're into 15,
no, it's a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
But it's important to kind of remind yourself that, things that you were expecting to do prior to this happening that you didn't get to do yet, and you're kind of still waiting, are not your fault.
No, and honest to God, we mentioned it before. So I applied for this program or whatever like that, and one response I got was you haven't demonstrated that you can that you haven't built your company and done this stuff and whatever. It was just kind of a generic response from you get from a bank or something like that. And I was just thinking, I just wanted to respond well, I've been in business during a pandemic this whole time. I opened a store at a Mayflower Mall. I got a restaurant. I've hired people. I put my sauce in 40, 50 stores, all during a fucking pandemic.
Right.
I'm this has been crazy shit, and I've like I'm like I almost want to say like who the fuck like.
Yeah. You want to start talking?
Yeah,
You want to start talking your shit? You want to like Kanye West?
Yeah,
man.
like what are you like?
You don't need any positive information.
Go find someone that just pulled off the shit that I
Right,
pulled off
yeah.
the last 15 months, man. Like anyways,
Some of that stuff is that rejection from certain things that I don't know if you're talking about like funding and stuff.
It was like
that.
it was like a funding application program. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no,
Anyways,
that could
it's
be
all good.
discouraging. Like I was applying for this funding through this government grant system for like artists to like put into like studio time, marketing, or anything like that, and they have like a number system out of 100 to kind of gauge
Right.
your
Yep.
a bit like they rank it in like 5 different categories, and like the first time around you can only apply for it once a year, and the first time around. I applied for it like early before the pandemic, and then they were like, oh, because things have changed, you might have to change your plans.
Right.
You want to redo it. So I went back, redid it, sent it back again, did it all myself, whatever. And like, let's say it was 83. I'm thinking it was 83.66 out of 100. That's a score that you need because they give it to jurors or whatever. They rate you on a bunch of different stuff
Right.
to be able to get the funding. And they sent it back, and it was like 64. Like it was like 0.2 decimal places, and they're like, because you were so close, you can apply again. It will give you the pass because you were so close for the next round. Because
Right.
otherwise you have to wait for a whole year. So I was like, all right, I'll do it again. I feel like if they might give me the benefit of the doubt because I was so close this time, and I'm like maybe because the pandemic they might have a lack of funding or whatever than they usually would, so they gotta pull these weird like. But I was like, that's insane. Like what? Like if you're that close, just give it.
Use some common sense here.
I do it again. And it happens again. It was like they raised the amount, and it was like now this time it was like 84. So I had a higher score, but my score was off like 86. I'm like, this is
Good
insane,
God.
and it's like the government music funding thing. I'm like, this is wild. But like, I think like, I don't know, like obviously like you were having issues with that too. But it's like you got for me anyway. I was like, this does not define my ability. It's just like I don't know what's going on there, and at the end of like and they give you a report too, and if you didn't get the funding, they'll give you like, oh, this is the reason why. They didn't even give me a reason. Like this is great, good luck. Try again, and they let me go again the third time, and I was
Did
like,
you get it?
I applied for a different thing and got that. So I was like,
hey,
oh, fuck it. But
here, and I'm glad you spin it that way, because like you can't let that define like their expectations or their criteria define like how like good or job or whether you because like when I thought about it like so like when I thought about it like I'm like the fact that I was declined it's like that's fine, it's their money, it's their government funding, like whatever, like I'm not entitled to anything, I have to build it, like I can't rely
on that
on some like but like I'm like the fact that like we were like the pitch like if that funding isn't in place for us to help us out, then like the system's failed. You know what I mean? Like we are like legitimately like a up and coming entrepreneur company who's done lots during the pandemic. Like good values, like good like trying to hire people. Like and if like the program and if we got declined, then like it's not doesn't look bad on me. It looks bad on the program and like though like that's what it should be here for. And if it's not, if we're getting declined.
Should be more receptive to who's
trying
to apply.
Yeah, then what is this thing intended for?
Like don't you want to be
probably
associated
blanket
with
denying people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it probably wasn't like a super vetted process where like what this guy? Not him. It was
it's just
they
sad.
They didn't meet this certain criteria. I don't give a fuck. No, you're not in.
Yeah,
That's
just sad because like I'm like if there's any company and I'm using mine as an example. Like I would like to be another company that I'm using as an example, but like that kind of stuff where yourself when you see it and you're like. When you have a genuine person that's doing all the right things, you're trying to do all the right things, and you have an opportunity, you get declined. One, it sucks because you're like, shit. Like, I feel like
what if they can't even give me.
And we're trying hard, we're working hard, but like you said, you can't let those moments define you. And that's one of the things when you're an entrepreneur, you're an aspiring musician, or anything in between. You gotta be able to just roll with the punches and keep on going.
It forces you to get creative anyway, man. Like I said.
Oh, look. Anything like you said before should be okay. Well, now I have to.
Yeah, well, you need to find a new revenue stream. That's
I
why I feel like
something else.
The food establishment was like I said, a happy mistake. Like you didn't intend to go there, but that's what it took to get you through the door in this sense.
Certain direction led me there. Yeah, and like I hope you guys feel this way, but like a lot of these things, you have to feel like karma or like you know, every no is going to lead to the next yes. Like you
Right.
have to kind of like,
You have to.
you have to have that belief, right?
Do you ever like look at like people's success stories and hear about like, you know, like the stuff like Oprah? I don't even know if this is a real fact, but like Oprah got fired from like this network
Yeah, you
before
hear
she
it.
got her show.
Yeah, like-
And it's like this guy was about to quit, and then like the Beatles
Mm.
weren't signed by, they got declined by the first 10
Right.
record labels.
Yeah,
they had
yeah.
meetings with and stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
like,
Anthony
God-
Bourdain.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it
he
just-
was
well-
eating
well,
it, and then he just went.
yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
just like God, like you look at these extremely historic like figures and successful people, and then
I feel
You-
like that's so normal.
you-
I feel like that's more normal than not for you to struggle and make it. But nobody sees that when you're through the door. You know what I mean? You pop through the door, you're gleaming, your product is on every shelf in the country, and people just see that when you're there. They
Yeah.
don't see the days when you're the guy that started the business and you're driving around in your truck and you've had to hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. I feel like everybody that's got something major has had to deal with that. There's a few lucky people that don't, but like that's a part of the process.
Definitely is.
yeah, and like like what I was saying too is like they're like, imagine if they quit. You know, that's what
Yeah.
blows me away, because I've watched so many interviews from people that I look up to, and
Imagine if Oprah quit. Like, that she wouldn't be no
it's
fucking
like,
Oprah.
you-
Yeah,
you-
that's-
I would
Yeah.
say Oprah. You'd be like,
Yeah.
who's
Who's
Oprah?
Oprah? Yeah.
Everybody's
People
gotta
want to
push
run
through
for
that.
fucking president.
Yeah.
It's like these people could have gave up, and it makes me wonder how many people could have been great
Yeah.
that packed in the bags
Yeah.
when they were like just one meeting away or one video away or one product
No,
away
for sure.
from a legacy.
And that, honest to God, like, and we're not talking about like me being on, or our company being.
We're here with Oprah.
Yeah. You know, Michael Jordan coming next, but no, like, that's what always like kept me going, was like, it's one, like, I'm the next one away. Like, it was always like, if I gave up now, it's like literally I went through 99 no's. Like, the next one is yes. Like, if I
Yeah.
gave up now, like, literally there's someone just the next door is someone holding a bag of money for me. Like, I can't give it.
And
Right?
and sometimes myself, like if I ran into situations that are like rejection situations, in my head, like I don't know, in my head I've always been like, oh, that's just part of my story. Like,
Yeah,
all I
no,
can say, oh,
for
they
sure.
rejected me. Like,
Yeah, it is, and like what you said about too, like what's cool now is that we live in a digital age where like now like we can document like our journey. So like let's say I hope I get lucky and hope my hard work pays off. In 10 years we're like, you know, doing really well and we're pretty big or whatever. It's like there's a documented journey with like, you know,
Everything's there.
you know, this podcast, you know, in like your Instagram videos, all this stuff where like you can like, it's like, you know, picture, you can see it. You're like,
There's ads over time.
yeah, you can see like, oh, like, you know what I mean? You can follow and look at it and be like,
you
know,
appreciate that way more. I find like
Shit,
there's
yeah.
certain artists that I found, and like a lot of people when you first hear them, like I know music, it's like their Instagram almost like it's like they go back and delete everything before they got famous, so you can't really
right,
see.
right.
I think it's way more valuable in
To
you know
see that,
keeping that
yeah.
process and like
yeah.
going down, and just as if you're a fan or you're an aspiring entrepreneur, artist, or whatever, like you want to see the process because it makes you respect it more, makes
you
a
feel
regular
involved.
person understand that, oh, this is capable of achieving, because look, they were, you know, living with their whatever here,
Yep.
and they were doing this and no one cared. And I think that's an important thing. Do you ever feel like what I was saying about the projections? And I was like, do you ever think like, oh, this is just my moment where I went through? Like that was what, like I said, like kind of keeps me going sometimes. Is like if you face a rejection, you kind of think like, I think of like the super grand scheme of things sometimes, where it's like, this is like, oh, I can't wait to say, oh, they turned me down, or I had so much troubles with this, or like, this is my part where
Yeah.
Oprah gets fired from the TV network or
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
I don't think about it necessarily like that.
yeah.
But I do. I have a chip on every no, everything.
So I remember
can't-
that.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to curse. Like I carry it all.
You
man.
did a good job at that tonight.
Yeah.
I've noticed that you
Yeah.
haven't.
I've dropped like one or two.
There's
Yeah.
a couple, but it was
But,
That's clean cut.
yeah. Like, well, yeah. I'm just
Well, I
trying.
mean,
to be,
you-
I'm trying to be professional a little
Of
bit
course,
here, you know,
man. Of
obviously. But
I feel like it's good to show people.
yeah,
the
yeah, it's a
raw,
little casual.
what
Yeah,
it-
you have to be show some who you are and personality and stuff. But yeah,
Mhm.
like I do carry it. I don't
Mhm.
like look at like each is like this is like the like that one.
You don't do things
specific-
with you don't do things with a vengeance in mind. But
No.
it's like you keep it in mind.
Yeah.
You-
Oh man,
it's
for
way
sure.
better. It's way more beneficial to focus on.
But here's the thing too,
supporters.
right? Like, and I learned this over time. It's like it being harder isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like it's like it sucks a lot of the time. It does, man. But like all that stuff, it teaches. There's a silver. Like teaches you something. It adds another layer to who you are personally or who you are in business. Like it prepares you for something that you don't even know that's coming next. That if that didn't happen, you wouldn't be prepared for it. Like you have to find you
learn along the way.
Yeah,
and you appreciate it way more when you get it.
Yeah, and like you can't be discouraged. You gotta think that like this is like all those things are like these no's or these things. Like not a vengeance thing, but like a little bit. But like it also like this is like it's like you're putting in like that. So when that time comes, when there's a moment when it's you against the next guy or whatever, like you know what I mean, like you put in the work, you put in the time, like you're ready for this, and like
if you had a harder go, you're prepared.
And sometimes like I the journey we talk about, I felt hard. Like I don't, in hindsight, wish it was any other way because I feel like
100%. It's
right?
a way better story.
Yeah,
and you don't lose it as quick if you get it quick. You might lose it quick.
Right.
You don't appreciate the amount of sacrifice you had to take to get to that point.
Yeah.
When you know, like, oh, I should not do that, because I remember that time I did that on a smaller scale, and it set me back a bit.
Yeah, and you know what something I meant to mention earlier when we were talking about the business? I don't mean to get a course. Like, learning from, like, so you asked me, like, who, like what I realized working for businesses is that, like, I learned from a couple of great, like, business owners, really smart, but I also work for, like, some bad business owners and stuff. And it's important to work for both, like when as an entrepreneur, because I learned just as much from the bad business owners as I learned from the good ones.
Learn what not to do.
You learn what not to do. I learned what
Yeah.
to do from one side, but you also like when you work with like a bad one, you learn what not to do, right? So it's like it's important to kind of get both sides, and you can apply that to music. You can apply that to probably
You got to go through some
a
rough
lot of-
patches to be a really developed individual.
Yeah, that's right.
No, actually, there's I hate to quote Joe Rogan, but he said the other day, and I'm not sure who he was quoting, but he said one of his favorite quotes was the worst thing I've ever been through was the worst thing I've ever been through. So if you haven't been through anything really tough, you're never going to be prepared to actually deal with something tough.
Right.
You know what I mean? You walk into the game and everything's, sunshine and rainbows, and all of a sudden you hit a wall. It's like, oh, fuck this, I'm out. You know what I mean? You've dragged yourself through the shit so far that nothing's going to surprise you. You're just going to keep going
The worst
forward.
thing I've ever been through is the worst thing.
The worst thing I've ever been through is the worst thing I've ever been through. So if you've been through a lot, you're going to be able to deal with a lot. If you haven't dealt with that much,
exactly, yeah.
you know what I mean? You deal with like a 15-year-old who just got his fucking heart broken for the first time. It's going to be like, oh, the world sucks. You go through that 10 more times. It's like, that's not anything. You know what I mean? You're going to roll on to the next thing. You're going to push forward.
Yeah.
You've dragged yourself through the mud to the point where it's like, you're going to do it. You've been tested. You've proven yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Boys, like, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Want to wrap her up?
No.
Yes, sir.
What are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say you want to chug some barbecue sauce. That was just a
Yes,
joke anyway.
yes,
Chug some barbecue sauce?
No, I actually don't want to do that.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, that was
I
game.
encourage everyone out there. Drink as much barbecue sauce as you can.
I thought we were just
It's
about to
only
get into it.
$6 a bottle. It's
I'll
good
do
for
it.
your health.
Oh, let open up some barbecue sauce. That and I feel like that was a good spot to end it on. I mean, we could talk for
No, yeah,
forever.
I'm good.
But
When
when we get to this point too, I start thinking, I'm like, because I go back and watch the whole thing the next day, and I do like the timestamps and shit. And I'm
Right,
like,
oh, yeah,
I think of what I'm going through, but I don't know how deep we're in. I'm down to talk for.
Yeah,
2:26?
I think we're.
This is the
I think
last-
2.5's good. Let's wrap it
Are we
up.
still rolling?
This is the.
Let's
That's
get
the
Mitchy drink. Are you gonna chug? Drink the barbecue sauce.
Oh my God, look at the
yes. It's good for your health. It's good. It's vitamins
Oh,
in there. There's vitamins. There's C and D
This
and
is the
E.
high-
Drink that.
This is the Highlander Honey Barbecue.
Yeah, Highland
Let's
flavored,
find out if you can
sausage.
drink it, brush your teeth with it, put it in your coffee,
Yeah, cereal.
and chug it with the boys.
Yeah. the Mitch square again. This is great.
God, delicious,
Drink
bro.
that shit, bro.
You
Bro.
might as well give me a swag too.
Yeah, have a swag, bro. Get swagged out on the sauce.
Well, that was a big
I
gulp.
got it in my beard.
That was a big gulp.
I want a
didn't
second.
do it.
I want more. Oh my God, bro.
Oh,
Wait,
boy.
should we have a swig of that too?
No.
It's the same,
I
I
think
think.
one.
Oh, I can't even see.
Oh,
I'm
it's
looking
not
at the
the same.
nutrition
No, it's not
facts
the
the whole
Spicy
night.
Paul. You don't want to be chugging anything spicy.
I
this
want
time.
some spicy chug. All right. Let's see what we got. We gotta try.
I gotta come over once a week. I'll bring all the sauce you want. You guys are chugging on camera.
Oh, you're the first product sponsor, baby. Oh
Yep.
my goodness. What's this? This is
This
a spicy
episode of the Mitch
Chipotle.
Squared podcast is sponsored by Island Sauce Company.
Cheers, mate.
Honey flavor, saucy behavior.
That's a spicy Chipotle.
Oh, you got it's like you got the got milk, the got sauce mustache.
I just got
Got
sauce.
sauce.
It's in my beard, and I can't do anything about it right now.
This is the greatest thing
You
ever.
want some of that?
Mitchell
You want
Square
some of that,
podcast, one and only.
Hit that shit. Oh my god,
Oh,
that's
James
spicy.
gotta get sauce.
Oh, again, sauce.
Spice is delight.
I love these guys. This is the best. Oh, I guess I gotta have a hit too.
Yeah,
I
I
gotta-
have a hit,
Get
buddy.
in there.
We should wash it down with some of the. What's that? The patty?
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, Jay, have a swig.
Oh.
The heat hits you late. There you go, buddy.
But it's like, the Chipotle, there's a bite. Spice just right.
A little spice.
Oh,
Before we
baby.
wrap up, do you want to try the Mad Dog?
No.
No.
I don't know.
Halfway through, I was thinking, should that be something we do with all guests? Get
This
them
is the
spiced
most
up?
successful thing. It was going well, this whole podcast. And the fact that we all just chugged some sauce in multiple flavors, I couldn't
Man.
ask for anything more.
Dude, I literally, when you said you could use it in coffee and a body wash and you know what I mean, like brush your teeth with it, I was like, oh, that's I don't know, I'll have to give it a shot. But you could also
That wasn't that bad drinking that, though.
No, I drank that. I drank the honey, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I had a huge mouthful, and I was like,
Yeah,
"This
that's not that bad.
you can't chug, you can't sip the regular barbecue sauce.
It's better than like a
already,
Monster
if-
Energy
if-
drink, and it gets you going just as much."
You're having barbecue. You don't know what drink to pair it with. Just drink the sauce.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh
Who
my
needs product pairing when you have to just drink the sauce?
man. Drink the sauce. That's a way. That's a great way to end this, man. Hey, where can the people connect with you, bro?
Instagram at Island Sauce Co. That's our main social media account we follow. IslandSauceCo.com. At The Island Sauce on Facebook. Yeah, that's it. Get the sauce
Oh,
going.
man, what a time.
Follow us. Listen, we appreciate our customers. We appreciate our followers. Try the sauce. Try the product.
There's nothing like this on the planet.
Drink the sauce, baby.
Mitchell Squared Podcast.